do.
All right, we in the game.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bland TV, Black Lives Anti-Matter. Tonight's topic, the power of cultivating relationships. In three, two, one, let's get it.
Yeah, let's go. Good. A hell of a topic, man.
Indeed.
So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, man?
Well, the way I see it, as relationships are being built, I'm gonna take this present relationship we got going on right here. You know what I'm saying? As I see it, it's not going to truly gain all this full momentum. It's not going to be able to display the power of this relationship that we building unless we apply the right power, the right polish on it, cultivate it, shine it up, push it out there, execute, and let everybody watch our smoke.
It's a lot of elements that goes into relationships too. So yeah, I guess as we get going, we'll break down all those different elements of building strong relationships and like some of the pitfalls that we see with bad relationships, so how we can all kind of see that and navigate around it and see it for what it is, and maybe help some other people see what a real bad relationship is. And we're not talking about like relationships between men and women. We're talking about all relationships, relationship with a woman, relationship with the man, your children, business partners, colleagues. These are all relationships, man, that are built on something. It's built on probably a few things, and that's what we're going to talk about. So a lot of elements in here, brothers. A lot of elements.
For sure, we're going to jump on transformational relationships, transactional relationships. We're going to touch on the 6 degrees of separation. We're going to get into some symbiotic relationships. We're going to go. We're going to run with this pretty deep.
I like that, symbiotic.
Yeah.
I like that too. I like that too. And Brahim brought up a good point. We're gonna talk about betrayal. We're gonna talk about parasitic relationships as well. And I would think that we're gonna talk about these things with some solutions included, because I'm sure we've all encountered these type of situations and just knowing how to be equipped in dealing with certain characteristics, even amongst people you love. Parasitic relationship can come in the form of people that we love. It can even come sometimes in the form of how we treat others if we're not keeping ourselves in check a certain way. So yeah, we're gonna include that as well. Boo, what up?
Hey, what's up, family?
What's going on, Vo? What's going on, Vo?
All right.
We diving right into this cultivating relationship thing. We just been sharing some subcategories so we know what direction we gonna go in. Awesome. Everybody had a few different thoughts so far. So if you wanted to include anything, you know what I mean, as far as that's concerned.
Well, as far as the subcategories, no, I really wanted to include, I'm ready to get into it. Nothing to add,
What does cultivating relationships mean for you?
Cultivated relationships means, first let's deal with relationships. We're talking about, the way we relate one to the other, our dynamic with each other, what I got, that's a few definitions for it. The one I'm referring to is in the way in which 2 or more people or groups regard and behave toward each other. Right? So when you're trying to cultivate something like that, you're trying to build it. I'm trying to, for me, it's the way we, similar to what we're doing here, the way we pull together, the way that we get in it, you got to get entrenched in it you know, as well. And what I mean by that is that, you know, with relationships, you know, it's back and forth. You know, it's good, it's positive, it's negative, it's up, it's good. What they say positive, negative, goes up and down. You know, but the cultivator, you know, means to nourish it, water it, you know, give it some life, you know, put some energy into that, you know, and you'll get that back. That's the law. You know, what you sow, you reap what you sow. So what you put into that, relate the way y'all go towards one another, you know, it'll be beneficial.
I got something to add to that. I remember, I don't know if it was a production meeting or was it last show, but I think it was you, Vu, who said that there's a tree out that you water for like what 2 years and it doesn't, like, you don't see any kind of growth. And then
Japanese
after the
bamboo.
2-year point, it sprouts. That's an absolute, like, that's an analogy for some time for some of the relationships that we build. And you may not see something right away. It's a little patience involved in the growth of these types of relationships. So yeah, I remember you saying that left something with me. I thought about that as we deal with relationships.
That's a good analogy because a lot of times, you know, and sometimes the more beneficial relationship, the more you do have to water sometimes without a seen result, you know, but all the time, you know, it's benefiting, you know. Yeah, that's a good analogy, P.
It's almost like you taking care of the roots, right?
Right.
Getting the roots ready.
Right.
You know, without the roots, what you got? You know what I mean? So yeah, that like I said, that left something with me. That was a powerful thought right there. Thank you, brother.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's the perfect space to start out in, man. Is talking about patience. If I could say if there was anything I can go backwards, and it was one thing I can know or learn early, or master early, patience would probably be at the top of the list when it comes to cultivating relationships. Because you know, the funny thing about cultivating relationships that I think that nobody never really actively trained me on as a child was how sinister people can be. You know what I mean? How slick, how nasty, how deceitful, how evil, how perverted people can be. Nobody never really, like, I heard shit as far as, you know what I mean? I peep shit here and there as far as how to prepare for it, but that's not something we really get schooled on. You know what I mean? And in that, man, I learned how to use patience in terms of dealing with those type of situations and solving those type of situations without having to feel like I want to punch people in the face on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? Like just learn to deal with, you know, certain level of patience. Yeah.
Sabali.
Oh, that shit actually saved my life the other night. I was telling y'all about my Uber Eats experience, right?
Right.
Just being patient in situations. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what got me. I didn't get to tell y'all how the situation ended. You know what I mean?
We saw you the next day, so we knew it ended well.
The echo, what you were saying, Dread, I think before we get to cultivating this understanding that everything is on our peaches and cream, you know, for me personally, you know, I've been around people that, you know, betrayed me. So it made it harder for me to trust people. It made it harder for allow people into my space. And so, you know, I definitely want to shed light onto that before we start talking about the positivity of it all. But you have people like that, you know, how do you allow somebody in when somebody, you know, came into your world? And it's usually people close to you that betray you. You know, I had people around me, man, that would smile in your face. Everything's going well as long as they benefiting from the situation. The moment you have a disagreement, all this stuff start coming out. You've been feeling like this the whole time. And so it's hard to allow people in your space. But again, I think in order for you to cultivate, you got to approach it with love too, you know, and it could be insecurities around that people deal with as well, where we have trust issues. You know, and a lot of it is from your upbringing. A lot of it is your peers. And so that's definitely, again, especially when we don't know nobody. And when you have, let's just say you have 10-year plus relationships and it don't work out, how can you trust that person that you just met? When somebody cause damage, that you got 10-year, 20-year plus relationships that cause damage. And so I just want to open that up just to give people feedback, have anybody encounter something similar? Or what do you do in regards to trying to promote a healthy relationship?
Man,
I just want to throw in there, man. In the therapeutic world, there's this term that when people say hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just want to put that in there on that note.
yeah, it's weird, man. I just actually kind of sort of went through something like that with a really long-term friend, man. And I don't know, man. Like, I mean, the art of allowance comes to mind.
Okay.
You allow people to be who they are, man. You pay attention. You know what I mean? You protect self, of course. But I mean, and more importantly than that, you got to recognize, at that point, you have to recognize who you're dealing with and what course you're going to take. But I hear what you're saying, bro. And I guess sometimes, man, people just kind of punish everybody for what one or two people have done.
Okay. Yeah, that's
And
fair.
I don't think that that's so much an equitable way to deal with that, man. Like I can't punish somebody for what somebody else did prior to them. I don't care if it reminds me of it. I don't care if it's the same situation, man. If I do, then I show no growth. I haven't learned anything.
Okay. Okay.
I was gonna add too, man. In our communities, we don't promote talking to somebody. I think we all should have a council of advisors, man, a council of wise men, somebody that we can go to and be ourselves. Discuss our hurts, discuss our pains, discuss our triumphs, all those things.
But y'all know me.
We
I get that up on the regular. Y'all my council of wise men.
we gotta have that, man. We all gotta have that because we gotta bounce back, man. In today's world, even in the past, with so many microaggressions that we deal with, friends, family, foes, whatever, we still gotta wake up the next day. And we still gotta wake up the next day and get to it, man. Like Mel said, we got to show some type of growth. So I would say we should everybody should have a council of wise men, somebody that we can talk to so we can let that go. We got to let it go. One of the things that I think is the downfall of many men is that they hold it in. They hold that shit in, man,
I
and
was going there.
poison everybody else around them, man. What the visual of the one bad fruit in amongst the other fruits, the rotted fruit rots out all the fruit. You don't want to be that guy, or you don't want to be that guy.
Right.
So yeah, we all gotta develop our council of wise men so we can get that off our chest. All of it, the triumphs, the wins, the losses, all of that, the pain, all of it.
Yeah, I want to add humility to that too, man. Like you got to be humble enough to take that, man. Like to be checked. You know what I mean? When your brother, your confidant, you know what I mean, comes to you because you may be doing something a little that's out of pocket, you got to be able to receive that well. You know what I mean? You said a big thing, Feek. Like as men, we don't really have a lot of outlets. We're taught to mask and encapsulate our feelings completely. We pretty much raised to only show strength. You know what I mean? And for me, that's a huge vulnerability. It kind of works in reverse. You know what I mean? You become so hardened, so callous that you're not able to, operate with your folks, old folks, period. Because you're so guarded. You become so guarded, man. But you hit on something big, man. That was dope. I like that.
Bro, I could relate to that. The concrete feeling of, like you said, that betrayal and you know, how you feel and how you deal with people going forward. And you know, I think Fink made a good point about, you know, the council, the elders, you know, your group, you get that as you go along. But I'm talking like Brahim, real concrete as a young man and just growing up and as young folks, you know, it's like that's those traumas, some of those things affect us going forward, especially when it's people we entrust and primary people in our lives, you know. But it's all right, you know, for me, you know, going through a few of them, it's like I've learned now I can absorb it, feel all that I feel with it, deal with it, you know what I mean, and let it be okay.
That
You know,
part.
if it didn't kill me, you
That
know.
part.
And then me, I'm like real now, and this is at this point, because we gotta remember, see, we men now, we talking at this point of our lives. But you know, as I look back, you know, as a, you know, I got the benefit of hindsight now. But you know, I know that, like I said, I've tried to, you know, try to absorb it, and then I used to try to really be accountable in this way, even if the situation seemed as if I had no fault in it or whatever. I always try to look at what part I play and whatever, however it transpired, just from a learning perspective. Because if it's a win, in that case, it's never a loss, because then it's a win or a learn, right? So it ain't never a loss in that case. So, and then even if my percentage is very low, even if the percentage was high of the violator or the other person, you know, still whatever percentage that I dealt with, I can always rectify that, because that's all I have control over, right? I don't have control over the other things, but I can analyze the other things and keep myself potentially out of that maybe environment or circumstance going forward. But it's okay to go through them, because once we take that approach where it's a win or a learn, then you know it's growth in it, even no matter how it go down, you know. And then if the growth is painful, then we know we don't want to have to keep getting hit in the head with a rock a whole bunch of times. We make the adjustment.
That's one hell of an analogy.
That's back to, you know, why we take the self accountability, because that's where we can adjust. But you know, for me, I get it. You know, you know, going through those things, it's still all right. My whole thing is though, it's all right to feel and go through all the things we go through with it, and then get us back on track. You know.
Right.
Y'all remember a scene in the movie The Miseducation of Sonny Carson? It's a scene in the movie where they walking in the hallway and he bump into each other. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Yo, I want this sucker out of here. Like he don't deserve to be here no more. He don't deserve." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel a clip
And then
coming on.
they got it done. Nah, I ain't gonna play the clip. I was hoping y'all might have saw the movie. You know what I mean? And in
Hey,
fact,
ain't missing.
I thought y'all. I
I
might
seen the
have to bring it.
miseducation of Sonny, but I
Yeah,
don't remember. It's a long time ago, man. I know Sonny whipped a little ass in that joint.
man. I think Ghostface sampled that joint. But my point is, man, it's levels of betrayal, man. I just gotta say this, man. It's
Yes,
levels of
yes,
betrayal, man.
yes,
That had you in that mindset, like.
yes. Great point.
You know what I'm
There's
saying?
levels to it. Great point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't get me twisted. Like everything we saying is right and exact. It's like I said, it's life. This is life saving conversation. You know, at the same time, since we on the subject, I got to keep it as real as I know how, man. There's levels of betrayal, man. I
Yeah.
mean, deservingly so. I'm not just talking about out of anger or out of rage. I'm talking about because it's deserving. like we was talking about, them bullets earlier, Feek. You know what I mean? The writing on the bullets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Certain levels of betrayal, boy, that I've seen. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's this post circulating that we was talking about on Facebook where somebody wrote on the bullets, "Cure for pedophilia." You know what I'm saying? I've seen levels of betrayal, man. Stuff I hesitate to even speak on because you know what I'm saying? Like putting that shit out there live is like it's so sensitive. You know what I mean? Like I've seen levels of betrayal, man, that on that level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Mel, you brought up a good point in regards to, you know, one bad apple, or, you know, if somebody do it, you take it out on everybody. And I remember, you know, can't give you I mean, on paper, everything looked good, doing well. And, as we spent more time, a couple months in, and I said something. I mean, it was regular for me, but to her, she was like, "What you say?" And it serves as a trigger. Yeah. And that trigger for her took her back to a place when she was in a past relationship. Then she isolated herself from me. I'm like, why are you taking that? I have nothing. I don't even know if the man exists or whatever. Why are you taking that on me? And so I think it's important with all relationships, I think we have to deal with that internally because we all go through our own internal struggles. And, something again is like, when you mention, okay, we doing business together, we cultivating our relationship, but sometimes we have triggers that take us back to a place. So I'm just curious, how do we deal with that? I know y'all mentioned the council, coming to, our OGs and this and that, but if that's not there, what's the medium? Like, how do I deal with particular triggers that I may have in order for me to allow for somebody to come into my universe, in order for me to cultivate that when we're dealing with triggers?
Accountability.
Yeah, and that word allowance again.
Yeah,
okay.
Accountability.
You know what I mean? When Mill said allowing people to be who they are, that's something that I find myself exercising on a daily basis. Because I'm very aware my upbringing was very unique. You know what I'm saying? And with that comes a whole shitload of triggers, man.
Right.
I can't even go to the corner store and back without suffering some type of trigger. If I'm being perfectly honest with myself, I'm in a constant state of therapy. You know what I mean? So, a lot of times people misunderstand you. So some people will trigger you intentionally just because they misunderstand you. You know what I'm saying? Some people will seek out your triggers and hunt them down.
That's kind of
try to trigger you on purpose. So I got to be in a constant state of meditation, without prayer and meditation without ceasing, like the Bible says.
Hey, man.
Right, you got to be in your avatar state, right?
Yeah,
your avatar state all the time.
Because it's non-ceasing. You got to be non-ceasing. But I think one thing, Brahim, you wanted the fact of you're aware of it. So I think it starts with awareness.
Yeah.
If you're aware that that's there, then you can start the self-talk. You know what I mean? You can
Absolutely.
Once it's do trigger, you know what I mean? Then you can take power over it. You know what I mean? Once you become, because your awareness is right there on it. Go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, that's what life is. That's exactly what life is like for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
I want to add something to that so bad, but I think you just I got nothing.
Let me add this. Like, I got a family member who's coming out of a divorce, right? Devastating, right? Divorce. People don't give it the weight that it deserves, man. The divorce, man, really is a split. It's a split, man.
Yeah.
And people take sides. You know what I mean? Friends, family, everybody, people take sides on who's the problem in the relationship, who caused the divorce, etc. So huge, like emotional trauma, all this type of stuff is happening. So what do you do in a divorce type situation where you got children, you got property, you got possessions, you got all types of things in that universe, right? That's going to be either figured out or broken. So what do you do in that situation? So, I'm watching, I'm stepping back, I'm watching counseling. We talked about that. Awareness of like your life. You go through all these types of things where you take a look at your personality, you take a look at your people, try to begin to understand your makeup, all those types of things. And then you got to take a look at your actions on both sides. You got to figure out all this stuff out. And your addictions, let's be honest, man. We all have addictions.
Wow.
That's a serious thing, right? Nobody's talking about these types of things, man. But we do things in the dark that nobody else knows about. It ain't nobody else's business. But we have things that are, to us, our thing. So all those things got to be figured out, man, before you can heal and go deal with anybody else.
Well,
You got to heal that, man. You got to figure out all those things, man, or all you doing is bringing trauma to somebody or vice versa.
Yeah, that's big, Feet. That's real big. I mean, one thing that I learned is when I go through adversities, man. I've never been married, but I had a couple serious breakups. But what I always held true to was self. You know what I mean? I gotta go through what I gotta go through. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna pull nobody else into that. I might burn some people's ears up, you know what I'm saying? But I gotta deal with those demons personally before I can take a step in a positive step in a new direction. You know what I mean? I gotta embody it, I gotta let it come all in, let it hit me. I gotta go through whatever feelings, emotions that I'm gonna go through about that, man. And you gotta do it in a transparent nature. I'm not saying run out in the street and what I'm saying, but you gotta deal with yourself. I think that's what you're saying, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be real with yourself, man.
Yeah,
before you go before you bring that to somebody else.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people just look for the mask, man. You know what I mean? They want the Band-Aid real quick and act like it never happened. But
and my bad, go ahead.
Nah, but I'm saying all I was gonna say is, in that right there, there's so much that's left unresolved. I mean, and they got to go somewhere at some point.
The one thing about betrayal, too, we talking about it, is betrayal comes from close, man. It ain't somebody that you got out here. It's somebody that's right here in your pocket. You know what I mean? They right up close. They know everything about you.
How about this? It may come from self.
Exactly.
Can you elaborate on that, Mill?
I mean, well, you got people out here living lies, man. People out here doing things that ain't in their character, man. You know what I'm saying? So, they live in a fabricated existence for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say with that is when do you ever get to be yourself? If you always got a mask on, like when are you ever you?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just trying to fake it till I make it, man. What you tell those people?
Listen, that's that social media stuff, man. You see these social media stars out here on Facebook, right?
And also, we betray ourselves too when we go.
Well, keep on trying, brother. Let me know how successful that you become with that one.
On that point, we betray ourselves as well. When we go against our better judgment, our higher interest. When we go against our principles and things we know, and that's where we get the backlash. And that's where the learning come at. That's where the learning starts. If we live through it, But yeah, that betrayal could come, in those forms, real rap, especially for self.
You just stepped on the landmine with that one. We betray ourselves.
Yes.
By ignoring our higher self.
You know
what I mean? Allowing our animal instinct override our intellectual instinct. You know what I mean?
So let's just say the riddle of the Sphinx is real.
Yeah.
It's real.
Absolutely. And that's a constant battle, and that's a constant battle, and it's a worthwhile,
It's a necessary battle. I agree.
Now, as I look at it, before it was more, I looked at it in a more, I don't want to puncture nobody, but I looked into the state more of a versus as opposed to, it elevating me, it challenging me and trying to bring out the best in me.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, I'd look to harness it, and now I'm looking to control it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I think I'm saying the same thing you just said, though, bro.
Mm-hmm. Dread, before we pivot, I'm just curious, man, and I think a lot of our viewers may be curious too. So, if I don't have, the four wise men that I could come to, an OG I can talk to, family members that it's hard for me to trust with my personal feelings. How everybody feel about therapy? Is that an outlet? Is that a real outlet? I know we're dealing with it, it was being stigmatized. Is therapy necessary if you need it?
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Therapy now.
Listen, man, I'll tell you like this. I'm going to tell you how crazy, because I work in the therapeutic, I've done a lot of work in therapeutic settings, you know what I'm saying? So with that came the option. A lot of times when you work in those settings, they open up the door and give you the option if you need that as an employee or as a staff member or whatever. So sometimes I took them up on they offer. I would be in there with a white person that had no real clue or relationship or understanding of anything that I'm saying in fullness, in heart. You know what I mean? But I will say this. At that stage of my life, just being in a circumstance where I allowed myself to feel comfortable speaking to somebody that really ain't judged me either way, it could care less, hearing myself talk, hearing what was coming out of my mouth, that was the wake up call for me. Like, man, I've been through some shit. And that just came from me listening to myself talk. I'm not going to sit in the room and say that shit out loud to myself. At least at that time, I wasn't thinking. You know what I mean? But just having somebody to talk to, that's my point. You know what I mean? In the therapeutic setting, allowed me to learn so much about myself, including while working in that field. You know what I mean?
Powerful.
Yeah. So like,
You asked the question, excuse me, Mil. You asked the question if you don't have the four wise men as well, like what do you do in terms of therapy? But even if you don't have therapy as an option, right? I just wanted to add, this came to mind when you asked that question. If you don't have a counselor to go to, there's this scene that I saw in the Fela documentary, musician named Fela Kuti, where he said, I keep death in my back pocket. That's something, when he said that, it stuck with me. It took me back to some other things that I came across in my teachings, things that I read by Carlos Castaneda and people like that. And then some Buddhist teachings where they talk about the nothingness or use death as an analogy to talk about a bigger point. That's something that really woke up inside of me. Like, I became real friendly with the concept of death. You know what I'm saying? What I learned is these concepts, the occult world, death, Satanism, and all of this, this is stuff that they take and they manipulate and twist it and add their own vile definition or way with it and use it against us. Essentially, when you go back to the root of those teachings, having a relationship with the darkness, the dark realms, what we consider death, it don't have to be in a superstitious way. Like even some people, I mean, some people do use it that way as well. But I'm just talking about the simplicity of just understanding, like, oh, all this is gonna come to an end. You know what I'm saying? When I look at shit like Bob Marley said, when he get into conflict, he just pictured a man as a baby. Like, that's doing the same thing in reverse, like seeing that every man was once a baby. You know what I mean? I just look at life like, when I was out there on the street the other night, I just look at it like, all this shit coming at some point, everything comes to an end and transitions into a new beginning. And that is so much power that comes out of that. Moments of conflict when you think that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You referred to Don Juan, Carlos Castaneda talking about that death where he says death is your best advisor. When you think that the world's coming down on you, all is so bad, say just look to your left and ask death. He said death is always to your left and at just a touch away. He said, anytime you think life is bad or it's getting overbearing or love, so just turn to your left and ask death advice. And death will tell you, no, it's not as bad because I haven't touched you yet.
It's powerful, man.
Yeah, boo, you just summed it all up. That right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut you in on that T-shirt, boo.
You better Google me.
Hey, boo. Hey, boo, I'm gonna give you a royalty on that T-shirt, bro. Run that one by me again.
Yeah, I was about to say I need to. It ain't that bad because I ain't touched you yet.
Absolutely. But you real when you put it in that light, bro. Because we be into things and things overwhelm us. But when they compare, he's saying compared to death, it seems petty.
Yeah, that's the yo. You just
I
summarized it.
totally get that.
Yeah,
I totally understand that.
you
Yeah.
just wrapped it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look to your left. That's death.
Huh?
That's some shit there.
It
Because
ain't that bad because I ain't hit you yet.
Hey.
Bang.
Straight up, yo.
Yeah.
Yo,
So,
that shit-
um,
Raheem,
that
on
shit-
that therapy piece, man, was started off, you know, we all need therapy. I wish I could pull up the clip by what's your girl named Joyce Leary. She talks about how, you know, when they took an elephant, they did a study about elephants and other animals when they took them away from their parents, when they saw abuse, when they were mistreated, how it traumatically affected the elephant or the animal, right? How just being separated from his parents, being forced into labor, seeing other animals and kindred die. So she was talking about our experience. She said, you know, you think that it may have affected us just a little, you know. So did anybody ever get our therapy? So back to the maladaptive characteristics, right? So we all need some type of therapy. It come in many forms. You know, you got professional, we got what we doing here. You know, Amos Wilson talking about us building what we trying to do collectively is one of the best forms of therapy for our group and our people. You know what I mean? Trying to rebuild, you know, and have some type of platform to build on. But the therapy, absolutely, that piece, you know, I would suggest it in any form that's good for the individual.
Yeah,
Yes, I second that. To your point, if you don't have a team, I think you should be about the business of building one. You know, that's a nice accountability piece for self. You know what I mean? You know, checks and balances, counterbalances, the whole nine. If you're that independent, then yeah, you might have to go seek something out professionally. But you got to get that shit out of you.
I know in the corporate realm, the companies that I've been associated with, that's one of the first things they kind of push you towards is finding a mentor. There's that word again.
It's all
But
good.
yeah, they push you to find an advisor, man. How about that?
Jegna, you know, I think one word, I forget what, I'm gonna find out what tongue that is. I know they say Jegna, like a elder or, you know what I mean?
Jegna. Yeah, they push
Jegna.
you to find a Jegna.
Mm-hmm.
Because of just what Ramil was saying. So yeah, you have to find somebody that's going to be real with you. That's going to be objective. And it's tough because everybody's not equipped to be your mentor,
Your advisor.
your advisor. Man, it's so ingrained in us, man. So
Oh, what? But I like to fight. I like to rumble. You know what I mean?
I'm fighting with it right now, man. I'm fighting with it.
Rumble.
But yeah, we have to find advisors, man, because if we're not true to self, you know, how are we gonna be true to anybody else, man? And one of the things that we were talking about was symbiotic relationships.
Yeah, I was getting ready to bring that up.
You know, that's
Next thing I was gonna bring up.
right. So we all meshing right now. So
Let's
you
jump
can't
right into
have a
that.
symbiotic relationship, man, if you ain't right yourself.
There you go.
You know, you gotta be right yourself before you have a symbiote, and that's really what a marriage is.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truest form of symbiote.
But I got a question, Fik, dovetailing off with, before we go into the symbiotic real heavy, dovetailing off what Brahim saying. You know, think about young men, you know, when he was coming up his age and younger, you know, that don't have access. We talking nice and flowery about therapy and, you know, counselors and all that. But, you know, it's not a reality for the majority of our people. And the sad part is that therapy used to be grandma. Right?
Yeah. Or that elder.
There you go, fool.
Huh?
There
Therapy,
you go.
shit, grandma and grandpa.
Grandma ain't but 40. Grandma ain't 40.
Right? Maybe
Yeah.
elder, aunt, uncle, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, for the reality of mass our people, that's the part with the built-in therapy, the structure, you know, that's what's missing. We seeing the result of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, true point. True point. It would definitely be a search to find somebody that's equipped to be your advisor. But yeah, that's where we got to do our work, man. We got to do our own work as well, man, to find it.
I think in the interest of cultivating relationships, one of the things that's important, using Chadwick Boseman as an example, when he had cancer, he was going through all kind of stuff and people was laughing at him online. Meanwhile, he filming the greatest black movie of our generation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know what the next man or person is going through.
I bet he was talking to somebody though.
Yeah.
Right. But my point is that, we got to be careful how we treat each other, man, because we get to judging each other and talking shit about each other, but you don't really know that person could be going through some shit, you know what I mean? And still doing their best to show up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just gonna add something to that, man. I don't think it's nothing wrong with judging people's actions. I think the problem comes in the prejudgment. You know what I mean? So if I'm putting predisposed opinions of you that I don't know for sure, what am I basing it off?
Also, Mill, that could be, careful too with prejudging, then judging without proper information. You know what I mean? Even if it's after the fact. Yeah, even if it's after the fact, you don't have enough, info to make it.
That's the context. Yeah, that's the context that I'm speaking in. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Without being fully informed on what the person may be going through. A lot of misunderstandings come out of that.
Oh, plenty. Because people assume from their perspective. We all do. We're a little more aware, so we try to check ourselves and be a little more, lenient with it. But let's deal with it. We all come from our perspective with something. Where we add to a thing, right? We bring us with it, So you're right, Dre. When people, the worst thing we could do is assume somebody else has our same experience in life. A lot of intimate relationships go wrong, in my opinion, when you're dealing with, opposite sex thing of that nature, because a lot of times a male or female, we assume our experience is the same. We feel about things the same. We think about this the same without getting that understanding there. And then seeing that we don't, but where can we come to a common ground at? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah,
you definitely see that a lot in male-female relationships.
So,
you know what I mean?
So we talked about, again, mistrust, betrayal, right? Male and female relationships. But one of the things I know for a fact, man, that may stunt our growth or cultivating relationship, and call it what it is, man. Jealousy. Jealousy. Let's call it what it is. You're talking about the crab in the barrel mentality. We dealing with that too on that alarming rate. And so, how do we get past that? And I had a quote that was interesting that spoke to me, but I want to share with everybody. Let me just pull it up and cue it up. It's basically, a candle never loses light by lighting another candle, man. And so how do we get past ourselves and, somebody that we may think that's doing slightly better, we all on the same boat, but you can't run away from that. And so, again, I can't go, I don't know. I might can't go to a counselor and talk about my jealousy, man.
So look, male to male that we need to get into, that male to male relationship. Cause that's real. That is real, man. Listen, we all composed of our thoughts and feelings, man. And that those grow within us, man, from an early age. And so if that's poured in you, those types of energies are poured in you, man, that can only come out of you.
With that candlelight example, what you described is a symbiotic connection. You know what I mean? And that's how I deal with jealousy, man. You know what I mean? That's how I define God. Like when I look at the next man doing well, that shit inspires me to want to do well. It don't inspire me to want to like try to compete necessarily or try to outdo that person. It just inspired me to want to do well. I see somebody else looking good. That shit make me want to look good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there you go.
And to me, that's the definition of God. Like I look at God as is the oneness of all
Mm.
things. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if I got one candle lit in the dark room, then, you know, I might have lit up the corner. But if it's two candles lit, we might light up the whole room. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I look at the planet Earth.
I
You
like
know what I'm
that.
saying? More
I like
people that's
that.
moving in symbiotically in the same direction. That's how we steer the consciousness of the planet.
Absolutely.
I like that, man.
Let me ask you, Brahim, and everybody though, in general, what do y'all think is the root of that for our people?
Woo! The root of what?
That
Jealousy?
jealousy? Yeah, what y'all think?
Man.
I think it's a natural animalistic feel, man. I think it's a natural thing, man. You ever
We got it to the 10th power.
yeah, but if you ever I don't know if any of y'all had dog, man, but you know, if you look at a dog, not saying that there's any, I'm just saying from an animalistic,
Mhm.
you know, if you play with one dog all day long and leave that other dog alone, when you leave the room, that other dog getting fucked up.
For real? See, I
For
don't know,
real.
for real? Damn.
Absolutely, man.
Wow.
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 Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
It's interesting because in that animalistic example, you know what I mean, what you described was a lack of love. And that's exactly what our people, so that's what we suffer from, man.
Absolutely.
You know, when you think about our plight and what we go through and what we've been through as a people, lack of love is at the top of our list.
Mm.
So I find that, you know, the people that have been jealous towards me, I mean, I can easily find examples in their life where they suffered from a lack of love, and that allowed them to project that onto whatever situation they was dealing with me involved. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where I was headed at, man. It's all about the love, man.
Mm.
It's all about the love, man. But some of those emotions will never, they're a couple, what? That's part of what? Envy is one of the 7 deadly sins. So that's been there since the beginning or whatever, since they started writing this shit down.
Yeah, sometimes a lack of love for self too. Like sometimes it ain't even so much about what you've been through, because we all been through things, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it got a lot to do with a lack of love for self.
Yeah.
If you don't have, my experience has been if I'm loving myself and I'm around somebody that ain't loving themselves, they usually try to pull me down like shit, like every time. It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's back to our topic, relation, because they want the relate to be even. They want it, you know, they don't want it uneven.
Yeah.
So since they ain't pulling up, they're gonna pull you down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's guaranteed. If I'm around somebody that don't have a certain love for themselves, they're gonna take shots at me.
Here's one of the things that I try to do, man. It's been helpful to me. And listen, I'm gonna sit here and say I suffer from a little bit of it as well. I mean, we
human, shit.
We human, right? So what I try to do to defeat any kinds of feelings like that is I try to continue to associate myself with people that are better than me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, they may not know that they're better than me, but I consider them to be better than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what that does is that puts me around people that I consider to be better than me. So I'm always like dealing with those emotions. You know what I mean?
Like, it gives you something to strive for.
And it gives you something to strive for.
And
it's not negative, it's positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I deal with it. I just try to keep associating with people that are smarter than me, stronger than me, et cetera, et cetera. So I continue. And it's symbiotic because it might be somebody that's like that feels the same way about you.
Oh, absolutely.
So so that's where you fight off those feelings. And I consistently say to my people who I have influence over is, and it sounds like a platitude, but really stay humble. What do I mean by that? We all hurt piece away from needing somebody else in a big way. So stay humble, man. Consider everything that you got a blessing. You know what I mean? So you don't get too full of yourself and you can, like we were saying, you know, you can continue to strive for bigger and better things, man. Stay humble.
Yeah. So for me, with the envy thing, the jealousy thing, I think I'm able to convert that to competition, to a competitive nature, for me to get to where whatever level that somebody, if I think somebody's on a higher level than I am, I competitively try to get to that level that they're on. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, I'm dealing with some little allergies. Um, I just use that's how I look at it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's really jealousy or envy. You know what I mean? But it's like, yo, I want to be in that spot. I want to share that window. I want to look through that same lens that they looking through. So how do I get from here to be able to see through that? You dig what I'm saying? Rafik, you said something to me a while ago, man, that resonated with me, man. You know, if you're the smartest one in your room, it's time to go into a new room.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that kind of sums up what I wanted to add to it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm always looking for rooms, man.
Hey, Dre, let's talk about the positivity of it all, and cultivating the relationships, man.
Word, let's definitely get into that. I was stuck for a minute because I had to stop and think, just being honest and real with myself. Like I was trying to really practical on a practical level. Think, has there ever been a time where I was the smartest person in the room? Like
Mhm.
the first thing that came to mind is like I've been in the room as a classroom facilitator. I've been in the room with people with disabilities. Like you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But even in the room with people with mental issues and disabilities, I still didn't feel like the smartest person in the room.
Mm.
For shit that they could do that I wasn't on the level of certain shit that they could do. You know what I'm saying?
to that
Like even
point,
though I was the teacher, you know what I'm saying? So as a
right,
teacher, even in being in the classroom full of children, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As a teacher, I had to stop and think like, has there ever been a time realistically where I felt like I was the smartest person in the room? Even
Mhm.
in a room full of dummies, I felt like it was shit.
I can learn something. Right. I can learn something. Listen, that's right.
so yeah, I mean,
Not to do.
yeah, I guess I echo that, Dre, because you know I recognize people's talents. You know what I mean? I think everybody has different strengths.
There you go.
So yeah, I might be smarter than you in math. You might whip my ass in science. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So the balance is always there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
you know
That goes to
that's
that positive too.
yeah, right. So I'm just always trying to look to level up
Hmm.
personally. You know?
Yeah. And that's why we form the groups, to get the symbiotic relations, because we all have a proficiency that may complement the other, and that's our our history, our strength, our holistic vibe, each section bring a part to the whole, but yeah, that's real, because you should look at the room regardless of where you at, it's something you can learn from. Like you say, Fee, if it ain't, it's time to get out of there. You can't learn nothing in that
Right.
room. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Then it's time to get out of there.
Man, listen,
Yeah, there are definitely rooms like that where it's like, yo, I
Exactly.
got enough for me to. Okay, so now I just thought of a situation where I felt that way.
Yeah, that's the more to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's time to
I
get
was
out.
I was down in Atlanta, man. I don't want to say the name of the company that I was with because this is a known company. I was down there, man, for a New Year's Eve party, man, and it's about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, way after midnight. And all these guns start coming out. Bang, bang, shit. Guns is busting by my face. Guns, I turn around, you know what I mean? Cracking and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like standing in the vestibule, like in a little, right by the elevator, man. And it's just a whole bunch of people down there and everybody chilling, doing their thing, you know what I mean? And I was the only one that dipped out. Like, I'm gone. Like, fuck around with y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I could hear people laughing as I was dipping out, like, damn, he out of here, yeah.
Right.
Nah, I'm not playing with y'all, man. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Right. I
Like
gotta get
that
out of
was one
here.
of the moments where I felt like
Right.
the smartest person in the room.
and you was
Yeah,
getting
exit
out of the
stage
room.
left.
Yeah.
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 Hey, Vu,
Yes, sir.
you brought up something last night that was profound, man. relationship etiquette.
Mm.
So, talk about that. Break that down a little bit, man. Because I think that's like the recipe, or part of the recipe, that foundational piece to start cultivating relationships, man.
Mm.
And so please touch on that.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, for me, I kind of coined that in my dealings just with people. I noticed that was missing and how we related to each other, a certain etiquette that was, to me, just like simplistic. So let's break the words down first. We talk about relationships. You got a few definitions. You're talking about the way in which two or more concepts or objects or people are connected, or a state of being connected. So we talk about that. We know what that is: different concepts, different objects, how they related one to the other. How they may be connected. Then you have the state of being connected by blood or marriage. We know about that type of relationship, kind of relationship of our ancestors. But the one I'm promoting, I'm talking about mainly in this case, again, is the way in which two or more people or groups regard and behave toward each other. My main thing in that takeout right there is where they regard and behave towards one another, because the way that you regard a person is going to dictate the way that you behave towards them, right? So if we look at each other, look at, the killings we talk about, as they coin black on black, we ain't going to, that's another subject for another time, but just look at the killings that we do have with one another, because that man regards that other man as just a lame, a nigger, or whatever the case may be, because he has low regard for him, right? His behavior towards him is going to be detrimental, right? One towards the other, one in the graveyard, one in the jail, more than likely, right? But the behavior, because of the regard that we have. Now, we're not going to get into how these things are manufactured, whatever. We're just going to talk about what they are and how they affect us. So that's an extreme example. So we talk about those examples down to the very intimate relationship in a household between mother, father, and then children, right? To me, where a lot of our breakdown comes, because when you talk about, I'm sorry, too, that was the relationship part. Let me get the etiquette real quick, which is a customary code of polite behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or group. So again, the customary code of polite behavior in a society among members of a particular profession or group. So we're dealing with the group here, right? So we talk about customary code, some that's customary, some we normally do. We know that, talking about our elders again, talking about our grandparents and things of that nature. We know some things were customary that we brought up. You go in the house, you speak, right? You say hello, whatever the cases may be, those things that were customary and just seem natural, right? So back to relationship etiquette, what we're talking about in a household, just where it starts with and that's where it breaks down thing for us. It starts with the relationship, the mother and father. So these things, how they relate one to another. A lot of times our regard, or the way that we regard one another, is dictated based on something that's a lot of times given to us indirectly, right? Now I got a false regard for this person, so I'm behaving in a manner that's detrimental to us, but I'm thinking that it's beneficial only because of how I regarded it. And I have to, I think a lot of times where we don't see where that's manufactured, the regard we have. Let's look at manhood. What's a man in this society, right? That's a social definition, also a manufactured definition. But we're just I'm gonna get in this and get out, and then we can get into it. But when I'm talking about our group, it's we got to deal with the dynamic of not just the definition of it, right? But how it's related in our community, how men are regarded in relationships, how men are regarded in family. Then we get out here and men don't regard each other in the streets. So we can see how that dynamic comes. Then when we do have that regard, when we do have the regard for one another, we see the benefit of that as well. So, with me, the relationship etiquette just term all relations, business, intimate, family structure, you know what I mean? But mainly we're dealing with the groups one towards another and dealing with the individuals one towards another.
Yeah, man, treating people like you want to be treated, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It really don't cost nothing to be polite to people. to be respectful to people. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, I try to be that way everywhere I'm at, everywhere I'm going. That's the least I can do.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? No matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing, even when a person be trying to get under my skin, I still just try to keep it simple. Like, you know what I mean? As respectful as possible, as polite as possible, man. It's more simple for me to do it that way, man. That's what I learned in this cesspool. You know what I'm saying? Everything else, I ain't got that kind of energy to waste, man. You know what I'm saying? On other people, like, you know what I'm saying? So I try to keep it as simple, as respectful, as polite as possible, man. You know what I mean? Even with police, like, and I don't mean try and be extra. Like, it ain't got to be no extra yes sir attached to it. Like, if I feel natural saying it, yes sir, whatever. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying I ain't got to be extra with it. I be myself, but I try to keep shit simple with people, man.
Mhm.
Because when I go out now, man, I'm trying to go out and get it over with. Like, I mean, the things I enjoy about the outdoors ain't got nothing to do with. It got more to do with my relationship with nature and observing how nature moving. You know what I mean? Unless I'm around people that's in a natural setting where I can really observe that about people. Like for me, I just try to keep it simple with people, keep it respectful, keep it polite, so I can keep it pushing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember a couple shows ago, I touched on a brother. I left from the neighborhood at 19, but even before I left, I knew the brother Mighty. We called him Mighty, Evie. And to see his relationship with nature was real, man. You know, he had the incense, he was sitting apart, watch the birds or whatever. And you just saw, like, when you spoke to him, there was a peace in his eyes, man. There was a peace in his eyes that kind of just said, you know, this brother's at peace with himself. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying, Elenage, for real. And back to what Vu was saying about, you know, relationship etiquette. If we really want to take a look at how we were raised, that's really what our parents were pouring into us was relationship etiquette, just the way Vu was talking about how you deal with people, manners, you know, yes.
Yeah, simple stuff. You walking out of the door, hold the door if you see somebody behind you.
Like, you know, simple stuff that
simple shit.
Yeah, simple stuff that we think about that was taught to us really are very basic, but real human behaviors that promote relationship etiquette.
Absolutely.
Like when you walk into somebody's home, the first thing you gotta do is greet the man and woman of that home.
Right.
Can't come in somebody's house and just, you know what I mean? You can't do that.
Yeah, so something comes to me from my childhood, man. You know, I was always told you can attract a lot more with sugar than you can with shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
basic manners, man.
Exactly.
And you know what's rough about relationship etiquette, man? If you haven't been taught certain things,
there you go.
And you in the presence of other people that operate according to certain principles, it's such a rough. I don't even know what word to use, man, because I done been in that situation growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Twisted dichotomy, sir.
You know what I mean? I'm in an environment. I mean, it ultimately became a lesson for me.
There
it's so
you go.
awkward.
So
awkward. Like it's such an awkward lesson. Like, damn, I ain't even know. Like,
right. And hopefully you're in the right environment where you can get it without getting beat up. You know, mentally.
Oh, for real.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah.
Shit. Hold up, but
here's one. My bad. Here's one. Like remember when you was with your peoples, your moms or your pops, and they made you speak to all the people with, you know, hey, you better go speak to Mr. Jim over there. Or you better go speak to Miss Ernestine over there. What they really was doing is just saying, be cordial to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we didn't know. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Jim?
Right.
Basically, they was just saying, be respectful, have relationship etiquette.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna be real, you know, even in our worst state of our folks, you see some of that, you know, in our worst state, you know, as a group, you know, you still see some of them things ingrained, you know what I mean? Excuse me. And yeah, I especially like, you know, like what Dre was saying, you know, you were talking about yesterday, how it might be your aunt or some elder female of your family, and how they relate to you with the sweetness, the kindness, the nurturing of a female. You know, as a young male, you know, it preps you for what you're supposed to be expecting and getting. You know what I mean, from from females, and how to be able to accept that, right, and deal with it. So we
Right.
grew up where, you know, girls would come here, sweetheart, or, you know, my aunts and them, they were sweet. You know, I loved them. You know what I mean? You know, excuse me. So, you know, it was, you know, how that relation, you know what I mean? How they, you know, how they showed, you know, without, you know, formally teaching us, they was, you know, exposing us to these things, you know. And,
Yeah.
you know, like I say,
That's,
even now, it changes though with the years and people, you know, the rules. Go ahead, Dre.
I was just gonna say the best thing that could have ever happened to me was my grandmother starting me out early,
Mm-hmm.
teaching me relationship etiquette. You know what I mean? Like she took it upon herself to make sure I understood that there's a certain way that you treat a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank period.
Yeah, how
You
about
know what I
this?
mean?
I remember there was a time where, you know, there was things called etiquette training. So, you know what I mean? It was more for the females, but they taught the females, the young girls, how to come into their womanhood, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you know how to set a table, you know, how to curtsy. You know, we were taught by the men how to give a solid handshake, look him in his face, make sure you make contact, you know, nice firm grip.
Okay.
Um, all of these things are kind of coming into my head now from my childhood when I hear y'all talk about, you know, being trained. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So why do you think we lacking in some of these things now?
Mm.
I,
Not
I,
us
I,
personally, not us personally, but as a community. Like, you know, those kind of manners don't seem to be around anymore.
well, I mean, you know, crack.
Listen, you know, I was about to say that, man. I can't keep pulling it out, man. But
And I
damn,
mean, and we laugh, but that's serious. You know what I mean?
That is
We
so
yeah,
laugh, but
serious.
that's
I'm
serious.
saying,
You know?
I'm saying. I mean, that's why I say we keep pulling it out. But
Yeah. You know that, you know, along with that, but you know, that's definitely one of the backdrops.
Wow.
I'll say, you know, even bigger than that, you know, just that whole government barrage, you know what I mean? The
Well,
coach,
yeah, it's a lot of
sending the
shit. It's a
cracks,
lot of
sending
shit that come with that.
sending the cracks, sending the, you know, ammunition time at the time, you know. But yeah, but crack was one of their more deadly weapons. Yeah.
deadly,
That was the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
deadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the nuclear bomb for our neighborhoods. That's when our neighborhoods went from being called neighborhoods to
Yeah.
hoods.
Yeah, you're
Right.
actually right. Because like, if you could point to a thing, you know, though there's many layers to this thing, but you're right. If you could point to a thing, because I can remember, you know, a brief story. I just remember, you know, when, you know, the transition. You know, they did it in Hollywood. You know, we went from Scarface to New Jack City. You know, that was a transition, right? Because first it was Tony Montana, you know, and Coke was the, you know, rich man's thing. You know, you had to be handling. Then then they urbanized it with New Jack City, right? So you seen it in the neighborhood, you know, where I seen kids out there. You serving your man's moms, right?
Mm,
And then can't figure out 6 months later why your mom got in your stash, now she turned out. I seen this,
yeah.
right? And I'm talking from people if you let them live and get to their normal potential, are very good, rounded people.
Yeah, man.
Crack destroyed relationship etiquette, fam.
Man,
Okay.
you talking
Yeah.
about a kid serving somebody's mom now, calling her all out of her face and X, Y, Z. That's what we seeing.
Mm.
Yeah,
Even
man.
even through that, you saw like relationship etiquette was trying to hang on. Like it was still people in the corner selling dope that'd carry your mom groceries for,
There you go.
or,
That's I say,
to
even at
clear
our
the
worst.
pathway. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
because
saying?
even at our worst, you see it at our worst. We still see it. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Great,
Crack was
great
a hurt
parody.
piece, man.
Great parody.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Great parody.
Yeah, it was a hurt piece, man.
Hey, Brian, being a little younger, what you
Boo,
think
you must be
about
reading
like
my
when you
mind,
was
boo.
when you was when you was coming up, no, because I like to get that, because like
you read my mind.
what, because we on our bar, we got, especially me, well, I ain't the only one, well, I ain't calling numbers, but my generation,
You
I'm
on that
thinking,
island by yourself, bro.
for you, no, you just had a birthday. We're gonna let you live.
Yeah, I'm still behind though. you the
But
big brother,
Raheem,
all right?
really, man, like for your generation, like how, like we saying what we saying, but like how is it in turn? Like how you see it? Like when you come up, was it etiquette out there, to what degree, and what has it deteriorated? Just give us some, because we kicking it, but from your perspective.
Think it's a lost art, man. Especially in South Philly. I could be walking down the street. People won't even acknowledge you. We don't even speak no more, man. You think everybody's out to get you. With me, I was blessed to have, my grandma, for most of my life. And, she, the same way I can, I echo what Dred's saying. She showed me how to be a man in her own right, how to conduct myself. It's funny because even with, we talk about relationship etiquette, even with relations male with female, how to court a woman. And it's crazy because I mean, too many times, man, I'm driving, I come around, open the door. It was times I would be like, you take my car, you could drive. I would come around. She would say, man, I told you can drive. I know I'm just getting the door for you. whole world off. And it's crazy. So it's a lost art, man. And especially when you talk about big mama, grandmoms is different. The grandmoms now 37, 38.
I was gonna say that earlier, man. I was gonna say that earlier.
Yeah.
I got tread light. Look, I got tread lightly.
Yo, you being generous. You being mad generous, yo. Grandma's now in their 20s, yo. Stop playing.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody grandma.
Grandma's now in their 20s.
He heavily.
Ain't nobody grandma in their 20s.
Shit if it ain't, yo.
Hey, but Brian, let me ask you, man. Y'all stupid. Well, I want to see that one. Hey, but Brian, let me ask you, man.
You wild boy, man.
But listen, Brian, I think I get the opinion. You can help me out with this. As far as the men your age, it seems like the women are like less prone to having that type of chivalry. So like, or it makes you a lame or weak. Is that significant throughout that?
Hey, bro, excuse me for 1 second. At my job, man, I work with a couple of younger sisters, man. And we had this conversation probably about 3 months ago. And the young sister was telling me that the dude, when he come to pick her up, he would always, dress nice, button down, shirt, pants, slacks. He'd open the door for her. And she was like, yo, at the time, I thought that nigga was the corniest nigga in the world. I was like, huh? So that piece that you talk about right now, fool, man, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. I know, I hear, but bro, you lived it out there. Was that the case?
What, in regards to what? In regards to
like the females, coming up in your area, not even so much now, even young when you was dating out there coming up, was that looked at as a sign of weakness more so than, oh, he's a gentleman, or I dig that, or X, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I like what Mill was saying, it's still stigma around that, the idea, you could potentially be a cornball because you do anything. Because again, a lot of women don't have their fathers in their life. You got kids raising kids, right? And so again, they're not exposed to it. So when you go on something outside of their element, their environment is different. Like, you're like, what? Like it wasn't just one time. It was numerous times. Like, I thought you said, no, I'm just opening the door. Something as simple. That was my upbringing. Again, walking late down the street, again, I'm on the outside. They never been exposed to that. Right. And so again, it's just, again, you don't have a lot of father figures that's present. You have, again, kids raising kids. You got the mom that's running the streets. And again, that's at an alarming rate. And so if you're not conditioned to be a certain way or conduct yourself a certain way, you know, you got to rely on somebody else to do that for you. And I'm glad, you know, a lot of us, you know, well, most of everybody in here was blessed to have that, but everybody is not as fortunate. But also too, I think when we talked about, you know, relationship etiquette, that's the foundational piece. But what I had to realize personally, my demeanor, as far as my maturation process was I could laugh about it now. I'm always in deep thought. So I'm a natural loner. So I'll be by myself just in deep thought. And people like, yo, you angry? You mad? What's going on? But what I realized,
thank you.
this was that. I wasn't inviting. I wasn't letting nobody in just because I was thinking my demeanor. So part of my process, and I'm just saying to shed light, this is what I did. My way of correcting it was I understood, I was aware of, like, you know, as far as my demeanor, but I started to smile more or learn to smile more, to allow people to come in. And so when we talked about we was conditioned to, again, show strength, no weakness, I realized it was is a strength in being vulnerable, being open. Allow people to, again, like, I'm not always doing great. Sometimes I'm fucked up. And so being vulnerable allow to have, you know, to start to build a relationship. And, you know, again, my best friend from college, he in Raleigh, North Carolina. And every time I talk to him, he talked to me, bro, what's going on? I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. So again, okay, you do your thing. We catch up 3 months later. So it took him to be in a messed up situation. And he's like, listen, bro, I'm messed up. And so when he was vulnerable, our relationship truly flourished. We was able to start having real thorough conversations. So it's strength in being vulnerable, and especially, again, you got to know yourself. So definitely wanted to hit on that.
Thank you. To that point, especially the point about the fathers and the strength and the vulnerability, you know, because a lot of times we're not taught that as men, you know, we definitely not taught that, you know.
Yeah.
I think
I want to take that a step further and say this is the whole catch-22 of that whole shit right there, right? We always vulnerable, man. That's the level. That's where that took me. That acknowledgement, what you just broke down, it took me to a place where I realized this never a point where I'm not vulnerable. Like, just for as long as I'm living in these flesh and bones, I'm vulnerable. Something. You know what I'm saying?
That's the reality of it.
Like, it just comes down to how I maneuver through this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Vulnerability part never shuts off. Drop me in the middle of the ocean. It's just all it is a matter of changing the setting, the environment. At any given moment, vulnerability can be exposed.
Well, you know, none of us is an island, man. You know, that's the definition of symbiotic, ain't it?
Yeah.
We have a need to be in concert with something with someone else. You know what I mean? So, like, that's our existence. You know, I think somewhere in there, man, somebody started teaching and preaching just do all by yourself type thing. This separatist mentality, man, and it hasn't served us well as a people. And I'm only worried about myself, man. Like, how far am I actually going to go?
Good.
Strength in numbers, man. You know, so I think that's a big part of it too. You know, from a societal standpoint, is that, you know, the way that we're taught. And I'm not even talking about within our own dynamic, man. I mean, when we go to the schools, so forth and so on, man, they teaching us that separatist mentality with one another. Yeah, still they're flourishing off of the herd mentality. You know what I mean? I think that in itself causes a lot of separation between us. Whereas though if you got a pair of cool sneakers, now I don't like you because you got cool sneakers. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have the cool sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, then where you buy them from, dog? Maybe I can go get me a pair. You know what I'm saying? We just too separate.
Hold on, hey Mill, hold up. I'm sorry. So let's just say I noticed a lot. Like you compliment somebody, like, yo, I like what you got on. Where you get that from? Giving up the plug, man. Like, so it's just like even with that, is a comment. People is not giving up the plug, man. Like,
That's one way to look at it.
Well, go ahead,
Right.
Feek. I'm sorry, Feek. I know you said something.
Yeah, I was gonna say to your point about opening up, man. My wife has told me many a times that I'm like a combo person. Like I go from introvert to extrovert depending on the situation. Like most times I'm introverted. You know what I mean? I'm reading or I'm doing something, and I'm cool within myself, being still and quiet. But based off the situation, if I'm at a party or something, you know, I'm interacting with people and whatnot, and I'm opening myself up. So again, like we were all saying, that vulnerability, because when you talk with people, you are opening yourself up, you know, to people's opinions, thoughts, et cetera, et cetera. So
Right.
I understand that. And I accept that vulnerability. But
I
yeah,
use it, man.
you, huh?
I said I use it.
Yeah,
I use
I
it.
accept it. I accept it.
I use it.
Right.
Yeah, like
I
I mean,
accept it. And
It-
then, you know, it's plenty of times, man, you might not get 2 words out of me for a couple of days, whatnot.
yeah, you know what, man? That bugs some people I know that have been close to me or close to that bugs them out, man. Because we were in our intimate space, man. I'm very introverted. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I'm extremely introverted. But in the crowd, man, you know, I might be the life of the damn party.
Yeah.
And they looking at me like, well, who the hell are you? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
You know,
That's-
it's funny.
that's
It's
a good
funny we
point.
talk about this, man, but because women have problems with that. They
Oh yeah, I didn't want to put it in that frame.
What is this dude doing? You doing too much. You know what I mean?
Next time you see, that's relationship etiquette. That's all.
Yeah,
Right, there you
yeah.
go.
And I'm just trying to tell I'm enjoying the moment, you know?
Right.
I'm in the moment, man. Like yeah.
Yeah.
They
Check this out.
internalize that a lot, man.
As we're
That's just
talking,
not women.
I'm thinking about putting myself in the mindset of a woman, women in terms of how vulnerable they might feel. You know what I mean? Just in terms of just trying to be a nice person or a good woman. Like, I can only imagine how,
What they got to go through, right?
yeah, like if we men and we feel this way,
So
you
Feek
know,
and
because
Brian,
they nature is vulnerable. You know what I mean? Their whole nature is
Yes.
soft and delicate, like, you know what I mean?
so Feek and Brian can feel me on this one. We girl dads, man. You talk about a mind fuck. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful, man.
Woo.
You gotta be careful with how you phrase it, how you approach.
Man, you said a mouthful, Dread.
You know, all those things, man.
Oh man, the shit me and my
They
daughter go
matter,
through,
man.
man.
They
Oh
matter.
my god, bro.
Hey, Feek,
It's a lot, man. It's a
Yeah,
lot,
man.
Feek, man, we talked about a lot of relationships, you know, different relationships. That's powerful, man. But one of the things I know I'm interested. I know a lot of us is some business relationships, man. You know, like how do I start, you know, cultivating and forming those relationships? You know,
They go underhanded for you.
Well, it's really, you know what, business relationships at the front end of it, at the front end is really, for lack of a better word, man, it's
Superficial.
reading. It's
Okay.
reading people, man. You reading the room, and you're reading body language, approaches. I can't tell you how many times like certain people have led with their resume, and I'm like, I didn't ask you for that. You know, because I'm not. Sometimes I may not want to return my resume if we're just meeting. Hey, how you doing? It's not, hey, I'm from MIT and blah, 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 blah. That's not what this is about. You know what I mean? I don't need you to read me like that. So business relationships really are I think they're difficult in the beginning because you're still trying to read people. You're trying to figure out how if this person is serious, first of all, because like if you're entering into a relationship where you're building something, you want to find out if this person is wasting my motherfucking time. Because time is a resource. That's a resource, man. Time is money. We always say that, right? It's something that gets thrown around. Time is money. No, really. In a business relationship, man, people are setting aside time so that they could talk to you about an opportunity, an idea or something, and they're taken away from another opportunity or another idea. So you got to value that time that somebody is putting aside to you. And when you're talking, the best thing that I could say, and I've said this to many of the people that I deal with, either in a subordinate relationship or if they're my leader, is I'll never lie to you. That's the one thing I don't do in business, because it's too much time lying. You're always trying to fucking cover up the damn lie and shit. You always got to think about what you said last time on the lie, you know what I mean? You always got to write down the lie. What I say, okay, I said, you know what I mean?
February 26th.
Yeah, I learned to employ that in every walk of life, bro.
Yeah, I don't
It
lie,
takes
man.
a lot of energy to lie, man.
I don't lie,
Maintain
man.
a lie.
Like today, I'll give you an example. This system update that I got to do, I spent mostly all day trying to figure out a couple things. So I'm talking with my boss, and she got a little frank with me. You know what I mean? Basically. And I said, well, listen, I'm having some problems here. You know, and I'm supposed to have this system update at this time, but this is what I'm going through. So I appreciate your frankness, but this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm working through so that I can meet this time later. Now, you can accept it or not. You could be upset, but I'm never going to lie to you. That's not what I do.
Right.
So, you know, I think she was a little upset with me because, you know, I thought everything was together. Well, I did too, but I'm working right now to get it together now. It will be together, but this is the situation that I'm going through.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head with that one. That's pretty much the best way to get through this. Realistically, for me, that's exactly the disposition and demeanor that I move with. In the business world is where I've encountered the most superior devils and demonic forces. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't a whole lot of room for stutter stepping or second guessing.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the business world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Just value people's time and don't lie.
That
If you say you can deliver something, deliver it.
Yeah,
If you can't deliver it, say you can't deliver it.
There you go.
Under promise and over deliver.
You know what I mean? There you go.
And
that's
then
another
too,
thing.
look, and this ties into symbiotic connection because, you know, my business experiences have evolved as I grow. Now I'm reaching a point in life where I try to do business with people that I share symbiotic connections with.
Yeah, you try to keep it there. Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of these devils I don't share certain connections with, and it always usually comes to the surface no matter how much I try to maneuver. You know what I'm saying? So I try to deal with people that I got symbiotic relationships with, and even with people that I can use telepathic communication with, where we almost we so in tune where it's like we know what each other thinking sometimes without even saying it. You know what I mean? Those type of experiences I learn to value more and more in the business world. They fewer and further in between and harder to come by, but it's so much more worth it. You know what I mean? To build those type of relationships when I have the opportunity to do so.
And let's be honest, man. In business relationships, man, if you lying to me, man, I can feel it. It's a certain tone in the lie, man. All right, can you deliver 400 units by the end of tomorrow? Oh yeah. I can get that to you. The fuck, it took you 10 seconds to say yes. You know what I mean? You can feel it, man.
Yeah.
Just be honest in in all your
Yeah.
dealings with somebody and don't lie, man. Just don't lie, man.
Yeah, that's apple
Safe to
kernel.
say you operate from a position of mutualism when it comes to business.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always me. It gotta be. Well, no,
Well, it could
not
turn to
always.
accreditation real quick.
Yeah. I don't know. I
It
might
could
have to
turn
say it's always
accreditation
that.
real quick.
I
Parasitic.
might have to,
You know what I mean? It's a couple that can creep in there.
it's. I mean, that goes back to symbiotic. Like it's always some type of mutual thing going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you want it to be mutual. You don't
Yeah, I
want to be.
mean,
You don't want to be the host.
you know, some
Parasite.
situations I might go into knowing that I'm giving. It's about me giving.
I
There
get
you
that.
go.
Well, I
There
guess
you
my
go.
point is you don't want to be the host for the parasite.
But
Nah,
here's the thing,
nah.
though. I get exactly what Ellen and I just saying. I'll just say this real quick. In some of those, you will be the host, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, you have your turn.
Exactly. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, you have your turn.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
I'm out of that.
Life,
I'm out of that.
yeah, life is real.
You gotta have some giveaways, right? You gotta give some shit away.
It gotta be that. Yeah, life gotta
Yeah.
be that. Yeah, it ain't life. It's something else if that shit ain't going down.
Right.
Hey, Vu, how you feel about a quid pro quo relationship, man? You think that's necessary? Like, what's your thoughts on that, man?
All right, now let's do this for me, Dread. Pull that term up for me, because I want to make sure I'm understanding that right.
I got you.
Whoa, bro.
Because I got my own definition, but we're gonna stick to the script.
Yeah. Pull it up, Dre.
I got you.
That's a good one, man. That's one of them loaded terms, boy.
Yeah, that's why I want some evidence.
Yeah, I like it.
So where is it? I can't see it. What we got?
Yeah, it's kind of blurry, Dre.
Blurry?
Yeah, it's a little blurry.
All right, I'm gonna just read it.
Go ahead, shoot it.
All right. Definition of quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. A favor or advantage granted or expected in return for something.
Now I'm gonna say this. You can look at it, and y'all find this throughout a lot of my conversations. I try to look at the duality of something, and then especially when I'm dealing with business. So now, all right, so a favor or something for something. I'll say this: in principle, is not an issue. The way that it's practiced and enforced becomes the issue. The principle of it, for you and I to exchange favors, shouldn't be an issue. Excuse me, if we deal equitably, you know what I mean? But the way that it's manufactured for the purpose that they uses it, like most things, when they get a hold of it, and that entity becomes, manipulative, right? Because we know what that entails now when we hear that, when we see that, you know what I mean? But like most tools, I think it's been used improperly, because we do it in other areas where it's used properly. We might not call it that. Somebody might hook you up with something. You say, "Damn, my man got me that good deal, XYZ. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hook my man up." Am I taking that out of context? That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
No, you're not taking it out of context at all.
Okay.
I can tell you where I've seen that, where I've experienced that term often is in the legal system with dealing with attorneys.
Right.
Like I've had attorneys where they might take my case and say, "Here, I'll pay for these filing fees. You pay for these filing fees. I pay for these filing fees, and I'll cover this and cover that." And on the back end, when we settle the case, you look out for me. You know what I mean? That's quid pro quo.
Okay.
Quid pro quo. Yeah.
Okay. Got you. And then we know the most famous ways that it's been manipulated. So yeah, to answer your question, I could see it, but the power in it, I can see the disadvantage in it. How it could be manipulated. You know what I mean? So is it useful, and can we still use it? And it's useful if used properly. You know what I mean? Yeah, like any tool you could build or destroy with it.
Hey, Mill, I'm curious. When we see the power in cultivating relationships, right? You know, everything's working out. But how you feel about nepotism, man?
Nepotism.
Yeah, how you feel about that, man? I mean, like,
You're quite the
if we
interviewer
talking about putting
yourself,
each
man.
other on,
Yeah, you're quite the interviewer yourself. Yeah, nepotism, man. You know, I kind of echo what Vu just said, man. It could be a positive thing and it could be a negative thing, man.
Okay.
You know, depending on how it's employed.
I want to give you the definition as you answering the question.
Sorry.
I want to give you the definition as you're answering the question. I want to give you the definition. The practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives or friends, especially by giving them jobs.
Oh, friends is in there. Friends is included in that nepotism. I didn't understand that. I thought friends was an omission from it. That's nice to know. Yeah. Again, if employed properly, man, I look at it this way. Okay, if I'm starting a business, right, and I have my plan already, I got my business plan already. We talked about it, y'all know about it, so forth and so on, right? Why would I hire y'all? You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to implement everything that needs to be implemented. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm assuming the business, you know what I mean, it's already has employees. You know, now I'm charged with trying to get them up to speed on my vision. You know what I'm saying? So now if I just bring a whole new regime in and put them out of work, then it's not so good. You know what I mean? If it's used in a harmful way, it could be, you know, devastating. You know what I mean? It could be completely devastating. I've seen it used in a bad way in the workplace. You know, I've also seen it used to a benefit in the workplace. So I mean, it's a slippery slope, I guess, if I'm defining it that way.
It made me think of how the police get it down, man. You know what I mean? You got the whole family, the father, the grandfather. You know what I'm saying? They was all police officers, chief of police, passed it down. You know what I'm saying? Coming in our neighborhoods, locking us the fuck up.
Now the
Well,
flip
they
side,
got generations.
now the flip side of that is because it's father, son, grandson, you know they watching your back for sure.
Yeah, on the other side of it, absolutely.
That's the flip side of that. You know
Because
what I mean?
See, man, y'all got me y'all got me in the etymology of words, right? So I'm looking at the definition, right? And after all what y'all have already said, it says the term originated with the assignment of nephews to important positions
There you go.
by Catholic popes.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to get there.
So now that puts a whole other spin on it.
That's
puts
what
a whole
I'm
other
saying.
spin on it.
That's what I'm
You know what I
saying.
mean? If we dealing with that,
You know what?
if
But you know
we
what,
dealing with that, I'm gonna suggest that the people go into our archives and watch the episode. Does Christianity cause more harm than good in the black community?
But let me ask you, Feet, you think like most things from the Catholic Church and Greek philosophy, they got that originally from Kemet and other places, right? Because when you talk about royal lines,
and there's the flip side of it.
Right?
There's the flip side of it.
Line in the family, you know, that's not, you know, that's natural, you know, hierarchy in general. You know, we get into the isms and stuff when we come over here in North
Natural
America
selection.
and they get to manipulate it, you know.
Natural selection.
So, right. So we that's when we get the isms on them, you know. But you think about that, you know, throughout history, that's how that normally goes.
When you said Kemet, that made me think of, like he just said nephew and then Nepo. I was going to look up NEF. The first thing that came to mind, know, etymology is taking the word and breaking it down. So I look at NEPH, Neph, and think of Nephilim. You know what I'm saying? Like Nephilim is a reference to the gods, angelic beings.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing is implying family, close to you, symbiotic connections.
Absolutely. And that family can be blood. See, we always took on a high level because that family could be blood or it could be spiritual. Right? It could be in a lot of realms. That's how we took it. You
My
know?
seeds marry his seeds, grow with his seeds.
Right.
That was good, man. I'm glad I brought that in because that took me higher. Now I'm gonna look deeper into that.
Hey, Milk, you said that again? You start dropping whole bars.
I Don't do that.
Huh?
That wasn't hold. Don't do that.
Oh, my fault.
My seeds marry his seeds, grow with his
Uh.
seeds. That's how we keep
Okay.
Wu-Tang money all up in the family.
Yeah, that's the woo right there.
That's the woo right there. Okay.
That's the Wu. Yeah, yeah. Big up to the Wu.
Hey, listen, fellas, I gotta hard out, man.
No doubt.
So I gotta roll out, man. But it's always a pleasure building with you brothers, man.
We enjoyed you for the short time we had you, good brother.
Yeah, I'll be back next week.
Way to go out dropping the bomb.
Hey, man, like I said, it's always a pleasure to build with you brothers.
Well,
man.
gratitude for that, brother. You took that to you elevated that one.
I just man, listen, I'm always just trying to bring value, brothers. But I gotta roll out, man, and get on this system piece, brothers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, be black next week.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Shit.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have my X-Clan hat on next week too. I'll holler at y'all brothers, man.
All right, Pete.
All right.
Bro, that's a crafty question, bro.
Well,
All right,
I
Bri,
got,
what you got for us, Bri? What you got?
no. So, definitely want to stress the importance of the 6 degrees of separation, man. Really just break that down. The power of, is what we have. How it originated with the podcast I did, my relationship with Ramil, the Dread relationship with Ramil. He's like the core piece, the connecting the dots. And started with my relationship with him. I've removed myself out of my environment for some time. I circled back, reached out to Ramil, then, he brings me on to the podcast. I had the opportunity to meet amazing brother, Dread, the OG Vu, Feek, and, from that connection, I was able to do business with Feek, right? And then you start sowing these seeds, then potentially he might introduce me to somebody from his network, and this thing continue to grow. And so again, it's like when you talk about it's literally the 6 degrees, and it's literally just connecting the dots, because I think we all interconnected some shape or form, and it's just power in that. And I'm just using us as real life examples how this thing came about. And again, it's power in that. So it's power in networking. So just understanding that your network, is your net worth. And so again, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, anybody that want to jump in on it before, I really break it down?
Yeah, let's start with the definition.
Okay.
Definition of 6 degrees of separation is all people on an average are 6 or fewer social connections away from each other. As a result of a chain of a friend, statements can be made to connect any 2 people in a maximum of 6 steps. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Dread, you got something on that, Dread?
I do actually, man.
Okay.
I go as far as to ask myself, looking at the way life rotates, man, I think that we've all been here before. I think we've all done this work prior. You know what I mean? We've been getting busy for eons and centuries. And I think this is the blood and the cells and the flesh and the bone meeting up once again. You know what I mean? To continue to push this momentum forward. You know what I mean? I think we are the center of the universe. Everything evolves and revolves around us. How we think, how we don't, how we moving. I think our thought process steers, like I said earlier, steers the consciousness of the entire planet. I'm confident in that. I think that the entire world right now is sitting back, waiting to see what we as gods gonna come up with next. And I don't see that coming from nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? It's now breaking it down on a plane of individuality, the third dimension. There are going to be Aeolites. There are going to be people with awakened DNA structures. You know what I'm saying? Moving on the same frequency and vibration that we moving on. In the spirit of oneness, man. You know what I mean? We right now, we the center of this whole shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's 6 degrees of separation, and that is, to me, in my thought process, that's the oneness right there. The reason why it's 6 degrees of separation, because realistically, we was never really separated. We've been here. We've been doing this. Our relatives, we got grandmoms and grandfathers and uncles and shit, great knew each other that we don't even know they knew each other. We don't even know it, but they did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see it no other way. Looking at the story of my life and the people I've come in contact with. You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't our peoples have been crossing paths? We just might not know all of the details or have evolved to the point where we can tap into that level of memory, but it's there. And realistically, when we talk about our great grandfathers and aunts and uncles, we really talking about ourselves, because that's the way, when you understand science and DNA, that's how that shit works. It's just recycling itself. That's where the concept of reincarnation come in.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That the same ovaries and the same testicles is really just recycling itself over and over.
What a
into
fucking
new
visual.
beings. Into new beings. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that to say that, you know, a woman is her great grandmother. A man is his great grandfather. You know what I'm saying?
Right, your own great grandmother.
Right. So, you know, that 6 degree separation is so real to the extent that, yeah, we've been here before, we've been doing this, and we're gonna keep doing this. And the world is waiting to see what we come up with. That's why I talk about being in awe. I understand the levels. You know what I'm saying? So this is a level.
Mm. Mm.
That's dope.
I mean, no matter what happens from here, we done already unlocked some shit. That's why I'm so hyped.
We got the cheat code, bro.
Yeah.
We already unlocked something that's causing a reverberation that future generations are gonna experience and feel. You know what I'm saying? So along with that, now on top of that, we decide to put more momentum into it. You know what I mean? Yo, we dealing with a crisis right now.
Cultivated.
On the earth, we dealing with a real crisis with this COVID shit. This is one of their last stands as far as these devils is concerned. You know what I'm saying? We dealing with a whole level of crisis that's physical, but it's beyond physical. And so just on the strength that our minds is right, we sane, we sitting here having conversations about cultivating relationships and how to better ourselves. We done already unlocked some levels of victory.
What? Still walking around with some sanity, talking about sane, sane things. You know what I mean?
Right.
And objectives.
Equitable things.
Absolutely.
Equitable things.
And like Mill was saying, and like Brahim was saying, when you think about how it all came together, like, it's so profound, it ain't even no question for me at this point. It's like, all right, this is the real shit. This is the shit that I was suffering to get to.
How about this?
You know what I'm saying? This is the shit that I was fighting to get to.
How about this? And y'all gonna feel me on this. How about this? It was already together. Y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my bad.
This was already together. This is just the culmination of it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? This was already together, man. You know,
it was never a separation.
Right. So all things are connected to every living thing is connected to every living thing by cords. You know what I mean? So that's what I was told. All living things are connected to all living things by cords. You know what I mean? So when I think of 6 degrees of separation, I think of a spider's web.
Okay. That's nice.
And I see the web. So I see all the touch points, I see all the connection points, so forth and so on. You know what I mean? I also think of 6 degrees of separation. I think of omnipresence. You know what I'm saying? You know, so those are just some of the things that come in my head when I hear 6 degrees of separation. So to your points, go ahead, bro.
Was even with my journey, I'm an analytical person, man, and I struggle with, you know, I just got more
heavy cross to bear.
Spirituality, man, and you know me meditate. When I moved out Phoenix, man, I started meditating, And it was just crazy how the universes work. And so for me, in my process, it's like I am in awe. Like times where I don't go out, I go to the market, I run into somebody I ain't seen in years. And I'm like, Phoenix is a big place. Of all places, it's something 2 weeks prior that I wanted to do. And I'm going through that. And I'm like, trying to find that outlet to get me where I need to be. I see the person in the grocery store. We start connecting, building, catching up. And he was the connecting piece to get to somebody else. And I'm sitting here coming back to the crib, like, damn, what the hell just happened? Mm-hmm. Like, what just happened out of all places? And so, energy-wise, spiritually, man, like, for me, I'm still learning that. Because, like I said, for me, I'm really big on the facts and stuff. You can't piss on me and tell me it's raining, and so I'm learning. I have a full appreciation of it and how the universe is moving. And one of the things I realized, even relationships, is alignment, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we gotta be aligned. If you doing something over there that's not aligned with what I'm doing, I'm cool. I'm just gonna let you from a distance. But as long as there's synergy and stuff like that, yeah, we can work. Mm-hmm. But if you operating over there and I'm over there, it's all about coming together. So alignment is important too. So yeah, man. And so again, me operating spiritually now, having appreciation for it is deep, because there's a lot of times when it don't make sense. When I was going through, like, it don't make sense how this, and again, the same thing with the relationship with Ramil. Years, it been years. Everything come full circle. Like I said, it already been done. That's a great way of looking at it. It already been done. This was already written. Indeed. But sometimes, that's on the positive side. But sometimes that negative stuff. You got Murphy's Law. If you think negative, more likely that's what it would be, and it'd be a snowball effect. And a lot of people don't get to see these great relationships. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is detrimental and stuff like that. And so I think this hit on that, even if somebody, again, that's thinking negatively, like it's not working out for me, I can't build with this person. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's important, man. Just alignment, operating spiritually, having an open mind. Yeah. And because it's working. Shit, it's working in our lives. It's working. It's working. And so, yeah, man, that's my piece and how I look at it.
Yeah, just to add to that, man, this is for Vu and the Dread, man. How many times have we sat in the barbershop on my couch, you know what I mean, and predicted that this was going to happen?
Well, what my thing is that, I'm a firm believer and teacher, as Mill, as we had the power to make whatever reality we want to make happen, right. And it's just a matter of what they call time, true eye master equality, in time, it'll happen, it's just like, it's math. Well, that's the acronym for time that we use in the science, true eye master equality. I master this equality in a matter of time. Anything I plant in a matter of time, it's going to happen. That's the law. And if we keep doing that, and we know that, then we'll manifest that. If you plant a seed and you nourish it in a matter of time, it has to manifest and bring forth. Now we got to work with intent. That's what we're doing. Now work with intent, because we be creating shit all the time. Everything that happens around us in some form of fashion is a part of our own creation. Now we just being intent. We got to be direct with it, intent with it, and make what we want to happen a reality, because we got the power to make it happen. Listen, the effort is the same. What they say, you can make yourself happy or miserable. The amount of work is the same, right? So the work we putting in, and that vibe, like you was talking about, Brahim, now that you're aware of it, and I know, like, getting that feeling and seeing these things happen, we'd be like, wow, and it's really amazing when it comes, because sometimes it don't matter because it ain't time. But when we see the fruition of it come, that gives us more belief and faith in that reality, and we can have it, we it's there, it's always there in a matter of time, you know what I mean? But yeah, I feel you on that, seeing that seeing it come from the unknown to the known. You know, it's in the thought process or it's in the feeling process, and it become a physical reality. Man, that is real. We know us seeing that should let us know it's always possible. We see it, you know, we've seen it. Once you've seen it once, you know it's always possible.
Yeah, I'm appreciative of
You
the
know,
way
and
you
you
framed it.
talked about loving somebody from a distance too. I think space is important in cultivating relationships as well. You know what I mean? Knowing when to give yourself some space,
Huge,
knowing when to give somebody else their space. You know what I mean?
huge.
Another aspect of yeah. Word. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
What about the idea of coveting? You know, we talked about betrayal earlier. What about the idea of one person coveting what the next person?
Can we
You know
get
what I
that
mean?
definition just for the audience?
Thinking they kind of want to understand.
Yeah. Yearn to possess or have something.
It's kind of broad.
To yearn or possess to have something. Okay.
Yeah, but I think the context that we often hear it used in, like especially biblically, like for example, I think it was King David that observed the wife of one of his soldiers taking a bath on a rooftop or something like that, and he went for the bull wife, but the way he did it, he put her husband, who was his soldier or his army, on the
I know
front
that
line
story. Yeah, they
so
sent him
that he can
away.
get killed.
They got to
You
kill
know
him,
what I
so they sent
mean?
him away.
Got the bull killed.
Mm-hmm.
But he might have sent him away. I know he put him on the front line with the intentions of him getting.
Not coming back. Right.
And I don't know if
Right.
the boy actually got. Yeah.
Right. I got
But
you.
I think the boy came back at some point and couldn't sleep with his wife or something because his peoples was out the war. You know what I mean? But anyway, he ended up pushing up on the boy wife. You know what I'm saying? On some shit where he had the authority to put him on the front line, sent him out, went at his wife just because he saw her naked. You know what I mean? So that's an example of coveting.
Yeah.
Do it.
I like
You know what I mean? Usually it's used in the context of something that yearning or possessing something that ain't yours.
yeah, if you
You know what
look
I mean?
Fred, look up covetedness. I'm looking at that. I think that's more in line with what you're talking about.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow. We need something, man.
That's what them
Yeah,
commercials coming at, baby.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
That's it.
this is okay. Okay, here it go. Covetous, greedy, acquisitive, grasping, avaricious,
Mm-hmm.
mean or showing, having or showing a strong desire for especially material possessions, implies inordinate desire often for another's possessions,
Yeah, I
covetous
think.
of his brother's country, estate, greedy, stresses lack of restraint,
Yeah,
and
I think.
often of discrimination of desire.
Yeah, because this one is pretty much like that one. I like this one kind of a little better. What you're saying, it says an envious eagerness to possess something. Enviness, envy, a feeling of grudging admiration, desire to have something that is possessed by another. An extreme greed for material wealth, like you said, the second one.
Okay.
Right. So we were getting in that one all together. That I think in both of them we're getting that feeling of having something that belongs to somebody else. Right. Wanting something
We
that rightfully belongs to somebody else.
You're gonna go through some nefarious tactics to get it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we get that. Mm.
So, Mill, I mean, we touched on it slightly, but again, for me, I'm thinking that as again form of jealousy. I'm looking at it. But it goes back to relationship etiquette. You know, for me personally, you talked about the woman. I want to address that. You know, if my friend bring their lady around, if I don't have a relationship like that, I just met, a lot of the times, I'm not looking her way. I'm not really engaging. I'm conducting myself a certain way. If she gets up and her body a certain way, it's just
Right,
I don't think that's coveting though.
right.
no, but
I get what he's
I
saying, the
mean,
etiquette
It can
part.
be viewed.
not to the relationship etiquette piece.
Okay,
Talking about the
okay, my
etiquette.
bad, my
The
bad, my
etiquette.
bad.
Yeah, the etiquette. Because
I mean, it
again,
depends on how you look,
Definitely.
man.
I,
It's one thing
Absolutely.
I
to
definitely practice a certain.
I agree with that 100%, man. Because we got too
I was
much
about
of
to say
that.
I definitely practice a certain etiquette when it comes to my people's girls or their wives or even their
Absolutely.
sisters. You know what I mean? All of that. Like I was
let,
taught
let,
that from day one, man.
let me say this.
Don't break that.
Let me
The
say
book
this.
says lower your gaze when you look upon another man's
Right,
woman.
right.
So it's
So let
really
me
telling you not to make that eye contact where it could create any type of energy like that.
right. That's where I
Yeah.
was trying to go. You know what I mean? I think to notice and to what's the word for ogle? Is that the word?
stare, man.
Right, okay, stare. To notice and to just to be on some fuck shit is two different things. You know what I mean? Like I mean, we all know
If
the
it's
line.
my man, if it's
We
my
we, we
man's
all know the
girl,
line. We all know
I
the
don't
line.
even want to
But
notice.
We
he
all know
just
the line.
said, but when he broke down the term, people like, damn, I want that, man. Then if y'all relationship ain't right,
Exactly. And
It's a gray area.
snitch. Yeah, he
absolutely.
did such and such. It's crazy. He was out last night talking to such and such, such and such. That can go that way too. So again,
Right. It's a slippery slope.
yeah,
It's a slippery slope to say the
Like
least,
you
man.
said, Bri, on the etiquette part,
on the
we're
etiquette part.
talking about how I regard my brother
Yeah.
See,
and how I behave, and
right.
because of the way that I regard him.
Mm.
And then understanding too as gods, we got a certain power as gods all the way across the board.
There you
There's
go.
certain situations, you know what I mean, that we can be put in, man, where we at a crossroads, and this is the choice, the decision to set the tone it's our choice ultimately, because
So
we coming in with that power.
let me frame it this
And
way.
I know that my man's girl can. I know from experience my man's girl can be put into a vulnerable position with me. Then now it becomes my responsibility.
Indeed.
That's why that's my man. It ain't
So
even
what?
her.
So I got a
I
wrinkle.
mean,
I got a wrinkle. Now that happens. Your girl walk up. She get up, go to the joint. I might turn. Damn. Come straight to you. Be like, my nigga, yo, you got something there.
Well, he already know that.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm wrong for saying that.
No, but
I mean, if y'all got,
I'm just saying, that's obvious.
yeah, I mean, and then it's about that goes into etiquette. Like if you got that rapport,
Yeah.
that's something different. You can
Right.
have that type of
Right.
rapport.
Right.
Right.
And then
So
some
maybe
people,
I didn't really.
Some people,
I
right.
want you
Some
to ask me
people
that
that's
question again,
offensive
Brahim.
to.
No, hold on.
They jumped all over that
Hey,
joint.
Bill, hold on. Hey, no, look. So when he said it, that's how we combat it. Like using, relationship etiquette. Because
Yeah.
I'm not operating that way where I want something from my man.
Right.
But on the flip
I'm
side,
not looking at it like I want her.
no, not you. When I'm saying,
I'm saying, yeah.
I was
We
throwing a
talking in
relationship.
general.
That's how I'm combating that idea that Dredd was saying. I'm just going back to my core principles.
Right.
You're having, again, relationship etiquette.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, yeah, we talking about the fellas, but on the women's side, I got to entertain that too.
But before you go there, Brian, let me say something. What Dredd said earlier to your point about us being the guys who are the head of this thing. My elder told me this. He said, listen, you got light, you getting understanding, you get knowledge. Like, when y'all start getting at it, draws. They said, but everything ain't for you to touch. That saved my life. That took me a long way. I got that. That's back to the etiquette part for the men. But go ahead, bro.
The flip side, you got the woman, telling their home girl this and this, how they lay it down in the bed, da da da. Now the woman curious. This is my home girl. Do I go against that? You
Yeah,
know?
that's a whole different thing though.
Yeah,
Like,
but that go both ways too, though.
Yeah, I mean,
That
yeah.
go both ways.
Go both
I
ways.
mean, but even if the chick ain't saying nothing about me, her friend is checking me out. No
Right.
matter how
Uncomfortable.
tempting that shit is, man, I'm cool, man, for real, for
Yeah.
real. Like,
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
you're right,
man.
uncomfortable.
Dre, because you'll get that. You're right, Dre, you'll get that. You will.
So
And
let me-
yes, and Brahim,
let me
you're
in here for
right,
1
'cause
second,
they'll
John.
talk like that. They'll talk like that.
As a rule of thumb for me, I don't never want none of my homies. None of my brothers got, man. None of my homies touch. I don't never want it. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it through the lens like acknowledging it and wanting it are two different things. You know what I mean? Because I might be giving you a big up, like, yo, that's nice right there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's disrespectful. If someone did that to me, I wouldn't be like, oh, you out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? If you act on it, now I've had it go both ways, man. I've had dudes bite your back out. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you leave the room, you know, the nigga got other chicks. He ain't this, he ain't that, da 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 da. Trying to get what you got. Not good.
but it's foolish to think that we can ignore and not acknowledge the obvious. Like some shit that walk in the room, you know what I mean? It's obvious that it's beauty. You're in the presence of beauty. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now, whether or not I'm adapt my man up again comes down to the type of relationship that I have with him.
Absolutely. Right. The type of acknowledgement I'm giving depends on our relationship.
Yeah,
I might give him a thumbs up. You know what I mean?
yeah. Because I
Depend on our
got some
relationship.
people that I got a man. You know, people that got beautiful wife. I still might not ever compliment,
I
never
know
say
some-
nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Just acknowledge it in your mental and keep it moving.
As a
I
rule
don't
of
even
thumb,
got to keep doing it over and over. It's just
Right,
like, okay, yeah, you got a beautiful wife.
I mean, y'all ran too extreme with it, but all right, I get it.
I mean, but see, again, it's levels of discipline.
Yeah.
Like that's the discipline that I need to adhere to
Absolutely.
for myself.
Yeah, that's
I'm not.
a
Hey,
thing.
You know what I'm saying? To keep myself in check.
Hey,
I can't speak to the next man's world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I would want the
Absolutely.
next man to have certain morals and principles, but I can only really speak to what's needed to keep my shit in order.
Indeed.
Yeah,
True, indeed.
I feel you.
But like you said, yeah. Absolutely.
Great question, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Great
Yeah.
question. I don't
But
know if
yeah,
I got
you're
a
right,
chance to
bro,
answer
because
it,
it
but
goes
great
down
question
like that,
nonetheless.
man. Yeah, it goes down like that, so you gotta be aware of it. You're right.
Bill, you got something for me, man?
Yeah, man. I want your take on the difference between a transformational relationship and a transactional relationship. Break that down for the people.
I'm gonna focus on the transaction first.
Apropos.
It's just taking me back, Mel. So give me a second, man. But
The definition?
no, not at all. It just took me back to a place.
Okay.
So no, basically, transactional is, people operating out of their own self-interest. And again, when I mentioned earlier, like, what have you done for me lately? A lot of people feel like that. It's all about them. It's all about what they can get out of it. And it's a lot of people like that. They just, and you know what I call it, Mill, a wolf in sheep clothing, man. Like, a lot of people, again, fake the funk, get what they need out of the situation, and then, they switch up. And so a lot of that, from my experiences, it could be, again, goes back to the male and female relationship. And a lot of it is, what can you do for me? And what's crazy, what's crazy, for the viewers, man, I got to hit on this. It's some women out here today, man. I had a young lady, man, a year ago, seen her in passing, try to exchange information. So she said to me, "Oh, you got cash at me."
Whoa.
Cash at me. Yeah.
Wow.
Before we even get the conversation, you got Cash App. So,
yeah.
you know, that was transactional. We're just gonna leave it, you know, but it's a lot of no, man, I'm keeping it real though, man.
I was stuck for a minute. Like it took me a minute to figure out what you was talking about. Like,
Yeah, she went right there.
Come outside. Come outside.
that shit's so foreign to me. Like, what?
All right, I'm gonna give another example of this, man. Look.
Nah, stick with that. I like that. I like that.
So, all right, no, look, I'm gonna switch it up, man. Conditional love and unconditional love, man.
Right.
You know, in its simplest form, you know, most people I will hope, want to be loved through all conditions. If I'm broke, if I got it, I want you to love me for me. And a lot of times with transactional is what you can do for that person. So long as you catering to them, they're gonna be around. The moment they can't get something out of you, they gone. And for me, I don't want to operate out of that type of relationship. I want to operate more of a transformational relationship. And again, that's operating out of love. Love endures all, man. Like you can't measure that. You give, you give, like same way if I give you something, I'm not expecting it back. I'm not calling you, I know you said you're gonna give such a, if I'm giving it from the heart, I'm not expecting it back. And so again, I'm approaching everything with love. Love thy neighbor. You don't have to be my blood brother, my blood sister. I'm gonna love you. And I'm approaching everything with love. So that will allow me to be able to manifest the relationships that I have. So I operate from that more than a transactional relationship, man. And sometimes, you got to call it for what it is. You got to deal with people where they at and know who you're dealing with. Sometimes it might need to be a transactional relationship.
Absolutely.
So in the business realm,
that Cash App story.
But yeah, man, look. So hey, that's my
I've been there, sir.
So this might be a dumb question. This might be a dumb question, but I gotta ask it anyway.
Okay.
What is she offering in exchange?
Services, brother.
Cash App.
Services.
Like, is she literally like, okay, because I told you my brain was a little stuck because I've never obviously experienced that. So I had to really put that in perspective. Right. Is she selling pussy straight out? Or
so no. So what we saying is she probably came over there.
Is that a roundabout way of selling pussy? I mean,
that's about,
was she selling pussy?
That's about how you can get without saying
it. No, she came.
All right.
She came and cleaned his house, bro.
She's definitely offering some services.
You offer some services.
Yeah, she came and cleaned his house.
Okay. So did she realize that she was? I mean, was it unconscious thing?
No.
Was she consciously selling?
No. All right, no. So, Greg, crazy.
The answer to that is yes and no.
Hey, look. I'm gonna answer, man. No, so Greg, that was her expectation. She like, I'm not wasting my time.
Right. She getting right to the money.
Look, as we look, so she was like, I already got hurt, so you ain't gotta wow me with your words and nothing that. I already know what you want. So let me get something out of this in return.
So instead of taking in lieu of taking me out to dinner and buying flowers and all that shit, just send me the bread straight. Right. Get the yams and so so culturally, prostitution has been normalized to that degree. Where it's just like
prostitution has always been normalized, sir.
Send that shit to my Cash App. Let's get busy.
You heard what I said, Dred?
Yeah.
Prostitution has always been normalized.
Mm-hmm. Nah, not always normalized.
That's the oldest profession in the world, bro.
Yeah,
it's always been here. It ain't always been. It's definitely not.
Say what you want to say. That's the oldest profession in the world.
I ain't saying that.
It's always been here.
It's making the most money.
But we knew the difference
but it ain't
between.
Been like it is today. It ain't like it is today. It ain't Cash App for me today.
All this freelancing.
Hello, how you doing? You got Cash App?
All this freelancing.
Hey, how you doing? You got Cash App?
I mean, it's a matter how you look at it, man. You know, I hear what y'all
I'm
saying.
looking at
I hear
it
what
like
y'all
it is
saying.
now.
I hear what y'all saying, but it's a matter what you're looking at it.
It's very interesting though.
Yeah,
If
I'm
you
like
buy a
Dre said,
dinner, if you
knocking
spend
off
bread
the.
to get the ass, my man, it is what it is. Like, I mean,
I
there's
mean, it's
levels
your
to
own
everything.
perspective. Yeah, it's how you want it. It's your
There's
perspective.
levels to everything. You paying
Yeah.
for it regardless. You know.
Yeah, but sometimes transaction relationships is necessary, man.
Absolutely. You gotta know which one you're going for.
They're easier.
Yeah. So I would imagine your next question would have been how much?
$40.
No, look, man, look. This is what I'm gonna do. Dre, this is what I'm. Hey, Dre, this is what I'm gonna do for you, Dre. Look, in these production meetings, ask me, all right? Look, but no, look. But look,
My
no, I
bad,
told her
my
this. I said, listen,
My
I said, no,
bad.
I don't operate like that. Look, I mean, it's somebody out there that might go for it, just not me. That's it. You know?
Right.
That's it. Ain't me. Now, obviously,
Somebody going for it.
somebody gonna go for it. Just ain't me, baby girl. That's
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure it's
playing
been
the
lucrative
number.
for her.
Yeah, she playing the numbers. It's number game with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Trust me, that wasn't her first rodeo.
Yeah.
And it
That's,
ain't gonna
it's
be
a
her
numbers
last.
game.
It's not
Yeah.
gonna be her last. You know?
It's a numbers
All right,
game.
so I'm gonna throw another curveball at you, right? Was that a moral decision or was she just not attractive enough for you?
I don't even remember. It was a year ago, man.
He said that's a
I got
production
to come out
meeting
there.
question.
Yo, I got to come hang with you, bro.
Production meeting question.
Hey, man, I just look. It's funny because I just remember that encounter, man. That was crazy to me because
Ain't it something when the face is just a blur, bro?
yeah, it's just
Yo, it's just deep how straight up with it is with it though.
yeah.
That's the part got me.
Yeah. Just, that
Yeah.
I didn't
Like-
expect that.
Like Dread, they on some they straight up. Like you.
But that's a different level of relationship etiquette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can
Oh,
dig
absolutely. There you go.
it. I can dig it.
Absolutely. Yep.
I can dig it.
Is she a freelancer?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. She ain't got no boss. She ain't working in no club. She just, you know what I mean? You come up to her in the mall, she must be pretty to some degree. Y'all connected to something
listen,
on
man.
some level.
All I'm gonna say is they got Lizard,
Then she
back
just-
page. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of shit out there.
OnlyFans, that's why I say this shit has been
that support
normalized.
that
now.
kind of shit,
Yeah.
man. Like, you know what I mean? I was amazed when I found out they had these sites, man.
Listen,
I was
man,
simply amazed, man.
So
OnlyFans is building kingdoms in the black community right now.
So, Dre, let me be productive with that transactional piece, though. All right, so I'm about to get $1 million game, man. We should be charging for this, man. If back to the business realm, if we talk about formulating business relationships, the best way to go about it, if you're intentional and using it as a transaction or a way to cultivate relations, whatever, is it's the power of utilizing LinkedIn, man. LinkedIn. And again, for people that don't know, LinkedIn is just like a Facebook of professionals. The reason why I point that out, this is a part of just growing and getting what you need. So say, for example, you can find a CEO of Facebook or major corporations on LinkedIn. And so let's just say if you're looking for, somebody in operations or angel investor, whatever, you can literally create an account on LinkedIn, search it. If you're looking for a corporation, most people have professional LinkedIn pages. And that's a way, again, if you're trying to build a relationship or again, a transactional relationship, that's a way to build if you're trying to grow in a business realm. And so it's just like navigate through that. And again, if you're trying to connect the dots, if you're trying to build something, it's power in using LinkedIn, man, as a resource. And so you have, again, if you want to build a transformational relationship, great. If you just want something out of it, your expectation, if you, let's just say you want to partner with the 76ers with your organization, I would encourage people to go on LinkedIn, type in, Philadelphia 76ers community relationships. And I guarantee somebody will pop up in that realm. And then connect it and present yourself in the right way where you could potentially build a relationship with the 76ers. And so that's how, again, it depends on what you need out of the situation. If you're being real with yourself, You might not want to cultivate a relationship. You might need something from that person in the business sense. And so that's a way that you can utilize it in more of a productive manner, and not the Cash App thing, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I respect that. Yeah, I respect that. Good shit.
Okay.
Definitely good shit.
Now, that's it. I mean, unless we missed something as far as covering relationships.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this. Can competition be healthy? In the business world? I mean, can it be used as a healthy resource?
Me personally? Go. I'm sorry.
Well, how about this? Why don't y'all give me some examples of how it could be used healthy in the business world?
I think from what I see, that kind of changes from person to person. You know what I mean? And I can say that because most often I find myself like outcast in that lane. Like I don't really feel need to compete. And oftentimes I'm in the presence of people who are competing. I'm so busy competing with myself, I should say, that competing against other people, normally that's not my norm. Now, if I put myself in a competitive type situation, a contest, a ball game or something, that's something different. But my life has always been weird in that way where, I often found like while everybody else was killing it on the basketball court, I'd be the person off on the sideline practicing my J on the court by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I always been that person by myself. You know what I mean? So it's been weird in that way. You know what I mean? For me that, a lot of times I'm not fueled by that. But I see that a lot of people are. Some people, that's what motivates them. You know what I mean? For me, that's never really been a source for me for motivation. The idea of competing against somebody else. I'm just trying to be a better person tomorrow than I was yesterday. Like I've been so busy competing with myself, I ain't even get a chance to think about. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, with the exception of when I put myself in certain settings. I can give you a story. Like I remember when I was a teenager, I was on stage. I was in a battle rap competition. That's when battle rap was first becoming popular, like on stage in that type of situation, and I was killing it. Made it down. I ate up the whole competition. Made it down to the one last ball. In fact, it was 3 people, me and 2 other people. The one dude I knew personally, I went to theater school with him. So I ain't have a problem dusting him off because he always was competitive against me in theater school. So when people challenge me that way, I just exhibit what I do, what I've been training for, and just do what I do, and I dusted him off with no questions. So that's how competition shows up for me. And it was me in the last ball, who I respected over a course of time. And I got on the mic and was like, I'm not battling them. I respect them too much to battle them. You know what I'm saying? I was at the beginning stages of battle rap, and I refuse to put myself in a position to allow myself to be used to humiliate somebody I respected. You know what I mean? And the crowd was like, responded as if I was scared of him. And the bull won, and they treated me like, oh, he was scared. It wasn't that I was scared. I just never really been into competing against people I love.
Right.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
What you got on that, Vu?
Go ahead, bro. You just really that. Go ahead, bro.
I got, with me, I mean, competition is healthy, man. It depends on how much you internalize it. But for me, before I got to the point where I started competing with myself, I seen something that I'm like, you know what? I want to have that. And it motivated me. And, I played basketball. So when I'm on the court, I'm trying to take everything from you.
Right.
Like, it's different. It's like, I'm talking to you crazy. Like, I dunk on your grandmom, all that. Like, I'm bringing all that. I'm not playing, but, it's just a mentality. it brings the best out of it.
Right.
Because some people need that, because even with me, if I'm not challenged in a certain way, you know, as far as me, like having a friendly competition, it stretched me, allowed me to grow. And so at the point now, you know, in getting the, you know, validation and everything, no, I'm challenging myself because I have nothing to compare myself to at this point. And so now it's like, no, I need to get everything I need to do internally and work on myself. But no, I think competition is necessary. It's fun. It should be fun. But the whole time, and I'm gonna just use this example with social media. Everybody rich on social media, baby. Everybody got it. But dog, I know you. I know your situation. You know, and everybody faking the funk. But when it's just like, if as far as the impact on it, it could be negative as well, because you always comparing yourself. And I remember, I'm gonna use Corey Mill. Corey got on there. I'm like, damn, I thought I had a good little life till I get on social media. Everybody winning. And so, but I think that to answer your question directly, no, competition for me, it is healthy. I grew up in that. I see the power in that. But if it becomes, again, having a negative effect on your impact, then that's when you need to check yourself. But that was allow me to grow and stretch, because again, when we talk about next week, Mamba mentality and everything, you know, competition. You know,
I'm by.
Well, you know,
right. In certain settings, man, like I said, like I remember, you know, in the world of martial arts, like competition, you gotta fight if you really want to bring certain elements out yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like when I play video games, if you play me in Fight Night or Madden or something like that, we competing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna smoke that ass in Madden.
Hold up.
Yeah, you got the fighting shit.
Hey,
you got the fighting
TVs,
shit.
man. Broke their games competing online.
Yeah, right. That's why you see I ain't respond. See, that's how I compete. When somebody talk to me like that, I'm like, look, it's really just a matter. We get off now. Let me know what your gamer tag is. It ain't a lot of rap.
I ain't fucking with you in no
me,
boxing.
You know what I mean?
I ain't fucking with that nigga in no boxing joint. Man, I'm on that ass, Dread.
If I'm gonna put myself in a competitive setting, that same personality transition, I ain't got a lot of rap, man. Like I'm gonna do what I do. Like we'll see, all right, like you know what I mean. And if you do win, I guarantee, like it's still like, all right, I see you next time. Like you'll see. Like
so you got the competitive juice in you, man. I think we all do. You know, really.
Yeah.
And like me, you know, I can't help but like you, Brian. You know, I grew up playing ball. You know, we grew up. That was our whole thing. You know, we was in the era where kids was playing outside. You was doing everything: baseball, basketball, football, all day long. So, and it wasn't as much as a go out as competitive. Us just being naturally doing stuff and you know trying to do the best you can do at it. I think if competition is great, as long as it's healthy. You know, for me, it brings out something in me. Makes me move and want to go forward. Now I've seen where it became toxic, where, and I mean that to say that, excuse me, we get so wrapped up in competitive with something or somebody that we lose just the whole spirit of whatever the thing we even indulging in. You know what I mean? But for me, I need it. It brings out a little edge, and then I like it as long as it's healthy. You know what I mean? As long as it's structured, like you know. We come up from that ball era. I was in the Corps. So, you know, I get, and like you, Dre, with the self-defense. So, you know, those things I think they are there and they healthy, long as like everything else, long as guided properly, you know, it don't get out of pocket. Because especially with men, I think we need that, the whole thing, the adrenaline rush, the, you know, all that stuff that come with that, you know what I mean? As men, you know, excuse me. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that piece.
Well, you know, if it's building involved, see that's where I'm at with it, especially.
Right.
Man.
There you go.
If I feel like I'm building with you or there's some building involved,
right,
then I'm more inclined to be a part of it. Even if the building is just us like playing video games and clearing our thoughts and know what I mean? So
Absolutely, absolutely.
know,
Because we could take it more out of the European construct. Think of us being competitive in our endeavor, like the endeavor we talked about privately, right? So
Yeah.
in that phase, being competitive in it, in the sense that we all want to make sure we perform at our best.
right. Yeah,
Boo,
I just seen.
no, I
You said,
said
Rob?
Boo brought up a great point because when you say, you know, you competing with yourself, right? How do
Mhm.
you know your own limitations, right?
Right.
And so, say for example, I'm gonna just use working out. You might work out, but when you hit your limit, you might just give up,
Right.
right? But if you're working out with somebody outworking you, you might go to a whole nother level, a whole nother gear
Yeah.
than you thought, you know, again, you're like, damn, this is my limit. I did my best, let me stop. But if you see me outworking you, I'm like, man, now I'm extra motivated. Now you take it to a whole nother gear.
You're gonna feed off of that.
Because again, you know, we created that motivation, that competition is like, damn, if he did that, I know I can do that. So now again, you take it to a whole nother level. And so it's you know, it's value in competing. It's definitely value in that.
I think
go ahead,
I was about to say, I think a lot of my personality has developed from living a lifestyle of competition. Like there's always been something or somebody competing to outdo me or to do me some type of harm or cause me some type of wreck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of time I just find peace in removing myself from that.
Right.
I got
You know what I mean? And I step into it like I was trying to explain. I step into it, you know, at certain moments by choice for certain reasons, whether it's to have fun, whether it's to build or what have you.
Right.
Man, it's like I don't go nowhere. Like going to work, I'm trying to do business, trying to take care of my family. Everything I do, I feel like it's always some type of resistance, some type of dynamic opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So much
Resistance
so
makes me stronger.
it do. But I'm just saying it's such a constant for me
Yeah.
that I find a lot of peace in just those moments where I get
it could get exhausting, huh? Yeah. I feel you.
You know what I mean?
I feel you. Yeah.
I've done a lot of competing.
But think about that though. That just speaks to your individual greatness, my man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you at a certain point, people want your spot.
Yeah.
You know, look, I'm gonna use the analogy of basketball. The Golden State Warriors, when they had Listen, they was running through everybody.
Yeah.
So even when they lost Kevin Durant, they try to kill him with nobody, everybody injured, but they remember because they greatness. And so, you know, you might not just look at it from a different lens.
You're right.
People might see something like, shit, if you know, they want your spot.
They coming at you for a reason.
They're coming at you.
For a reason.
So look at it in that lens, you know, just your individual greatness. That's how I would look at it. You know?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And then too, I don't know, maybe it's me, you know, sometimes I like to take it, like I say, out of the construct that we have it in, because I'm aware where we at, you know, and sometimes competition's always used as a versus, you know, in a negative way instead of positive way. You know what I'm saying? You know, we always got to remember the construct we in, and we can flip that. You know, that's our power. We got to flip that. There ain't got to be a negative connotation with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know.
I'm glad you made that distinction. I heard pretty much what y'all said. For me, kind of like you, Brian, like you, Vu, you know, I use competition in its healthiest form. You know what I mean? I use it to raise the bar, to level up. You know what I'm saying? So like in that regard, I think it's very healthy. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a pretty competitive person about a lot of shit that probably don't even make sense to be competitive about. You know what I mean? But that's just who I am. But for me, again, it's an elevating tool for me. You know what I'm saying? But y'all made some good points, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part about competition, man, is like when you find I've been in situations, man, where I've gone against the best at something and they were better than me. After going against them, I was better than everybody else.
There you go.
Right.
That's the object of it, to bring out what's in. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the object.
But Dread too, again, with your perspective on, I mean, look, is how you look at it. Because again, I'm not competing with you if I think you're mediocre. So everything you keep, like, it becomes overwhelming. But again, Nobody's not going to compete with somebody that's think they below them. Look, a lot of
Absolutely.
people probably look at you like, damn, I need to level up when I look at this man. So, again, look at it and take it with a smile. Like, look,
Yeah, that's
you ain't got
real.
nothing to prove.
Yeah,
And from how people see you, again, they might be trying to take your spot. But when you look at it, have a full appreciation of it too, because it's just like, look, somebody putting all this energy to compete with me, they value you, man. Like,
accept the
That's
challenge.
real.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's real.
And
they value you.
And
I
Brahim,
ain't never.
no, go ahead.
No, I said I ain't never come in the room and said, listen, I'm trying to be like this mediocre person. Like, what I'm working towards to go backwards.
Right.
Like, come on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you can, again, people again messing up your energy and trying to compete, man, you gotta like, man, I respect that. Somebody gonna waste all this energy,
Mm.
put all this energy in trying to, compete with me. That just speaks to your own individual greatness, man. I just gotta tell you that. Nobody can tell you that.
Yeah.
So what
That's
do
a
that
dope
say
spot.
about you, black man? If you know what I mean? To
Yeah.
that point. You
Hey,
know what I
Vu.
mean?
Hey,
We gotta
Vu.
think
Yeah.
that. What does
Hey,
that say
Vu.
about you? Because
Hey,
people
Vu.
set up systems to compete against you.
Yeah.
They set up systems,
Hey,
right?
Vu.
So we gotta
Stop
accept
playing.
that challenge. We gotta accept that challenge, Dred. I
Yeah.
know it's tiresome. What'd you say,
Yeah,
Mel?
that's the
Stop
thing, man.
playing.
I gotta get past I mean, I'm saying it, but at the
The
same
world
time,
is
it's
in
a daily
competition
thing.
with
But
us.
yeah,
I'm
the
sorry, Dre.
exhaustion of it all.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got enough power to handle it because you still standing. You ain't
Right.
telling us I'm so tired from the prone position. You still
Right,
standing
right.
up telling us how tired you are.
Well,
Right?
in his statement,
When you tell me that from the prone position, I'll consider it.
right. His opening statement to me
long as you
was,
standing, I hear you. But I know you can do it.
his opening statement to me was, I'm in competition with myself. I
Mhm.
was like, well, damn. I was like, whoa, shit.
But Brahim, your point was real on an individual and a group level. You know what I mean? When somebody got to do what they do, you must be pretty important, or they feel like
I
they
know.
got.
I know where you're going with that too.
Yeah, if they do that, you got to pay. If they feel like they got to set up X, Y, Z to be competing, and then we talking about competing fairly. Then when you talk about when somebody got to set rigs up for you, you must be really doing something, right? They got to set up booby traps and all that to make the competition even a little more.
You must be somebody.
Yeah, you got to be doing something.
You have to be somebody. I know that much.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know one thing, man. This world need to learn how to cultivate relationships better and need to learn how to have better relationship etiquette. You know what I'm saying? I walk down the street in some white neighborhoods, man, in New York or whatever, man, and some of these white folks don't know how to step to the side and give you a little room when you
You
walking
gotta
by.
go to New York for that.
Yeah, right. You ain't got. I'm just exactly. But, I say that to say, just to be blunt, man. This world need to learn how to have a better relationship with me. Like I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Like I'm doing my part. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my part, and I think that I've gained enough authority where I can say that confidently now. Like if you watching this, or if it's going out in the ethers and somehow may it land on your soul, like y'all need to have better relationships with us too. We doing our part. We doing everything we know how. But you know what I mean? I encourage.
Vu said something powerful in there, man. About the construct of competition. You know what I mean? I thought that was a very powerful take on that, man. Analogy. You know what I mean? How we operating out of somebody else's construct of what competition is, and we're in the play against each other.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's deep.
I just hope I hope people was listening to that.
Yeah,
that's it. That goes right into what I was saying about having better relationships with us. Like, you know what I mean?
absolutely.
We all need to rethink this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to Dre, your point earlier about when you said you didn't want to go against the brother because the love you had from him and that form of competition was kind of like defaming as opposed to uplifting. So you ain't want to go against him. So back to the construct in which our competition is set up in. You know what I mean? And we can have positive competition, you know, where we build it out. You know, ours, the way they teach us competition is always like, and really when you think about it, this is how I look at it. When you think about it, if you have a event, whatever it be, I don't know, fight, mental, whatever, spiritual, and somebody brings out something in you that you wouldn't have done on your own accord, even if you call yourself victorious or whatever, you should have enough respect to give that opponent its due. Because without them provoking that in you, you wouldn't even reach the level to overcome them.
Right.
So your worthy opponent, you really got to thank them.
That's a big one, bro.
Right? You really got to thank them.
Right.
That's a big one right there.
Yeah. So like, and when we look at our opponents out there like that, that's what, you know, that's what kind of, you know, knocked the edge off and able for us to deal with it. You know, that's real though, because you got to give it to them. Because without them, you wouldn't have been moved to that level. You know.
I done came across some devils, man, that I don't know if I can be thankful for. Like I'm thankful for whatever existed within and around me that pulled me through it, that allowed me to push through that. For the actual dynamic opposite itself,
I'm thankful.
It's still off with a couple heads around my way.
I feel you, and I ain't come to this overnight. Look, I ain't come to this feeling overnight. You know, those that know me,
right?
Those that I did not come to think like this overnight. No,
right. That's wisdom.
But to echo that, Vu, like I mean, I'm appreciative to anybody that raises my level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To that point, you know,
I'm gonna say sometimes though initially I'm not. Sometimes like you piss me the fuck off, but after it's all done and I realize when it came out, I have to be thankful. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I always have, but I'm looking at it in a construct. That's the way we should handle that. You know,
that's real. That's real
for us, not even for them. For us to get the most out of it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I think we giving the PG-13 version, man. Hey, Boo, stop playing. But listen, basketball, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
We talking crazy to each other. I had people that first time saying, "Man, y'all talk to each other like that?" Then after we stopped balling,
what happened?
We were hugging each other.
What happened?
Cool,
you and him, the one you was going at it with the most.
The most.
Y'all like, damn, dog. Huh? You like, damn, my man. He ain't back down. You ain't back down.
Right.
Damn, my man. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna put it in a whole different arena because that's definitely the truth. I love you, but I knock you on your ass on the basketball court.
Oh, when they out there, listen, my mother better not get between the lines. Ain't nothing personal,
I
mama.
will flatten you out there, bro.
Yeah.
And help you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you haven't been around, anybody ever been around us, man? Like my squad, you know, our sounding sessions, man, alone.
Oh yeah.
Woo! You talk about some competitive shit. Oh my God, dirty, low down, all that kind of shit, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Love, man. You know what I mean? That's my point, man. You know what I mean?
But you're right, bro. It should take you to that edge, and you should be able to come back. But it should take you to that edge. You know what I mean? Should take you right there.
Make you level up.
Yeah.
The best, you know what's crazy? That's how I know I'm drawing blanks. The best example I could come up with the friendly competition at the highest level. I came to a cartoon, man. The anime, Dragon Ball Z, with Goku, man. Like, y'all ain't see it?
No.
Oh,
I'm
man.
too old to watch
I'm
Dragon
gonna leave that
Ball.
alone. I'm gonna leave that alone then, man. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Dread probably there with you, but I'm too old for Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, my son put a lot of time and effort into trying to get me.
I'm gonna let that one go. That's why I said I know I'm drawing blanks if I.
But he told me about it. He broke it down when he broke down the storyline. The shit was dope. Like, I ain't
gonna make me do some research. I want to know that.
The bull. That's all.
Something about his grandfather teaching him or some crazy shit.
All he do is compete, man.
Right.
Okay.
Enemies coming from out of the university. That's all he do. And he don't try to kill you. He just try to test his power level against you. And when he's going through competition, he go to another gear.
Right.
And so that's all he do. He train all day and just compete all day. And that's how he challenges himself to go to new levels. And so that's basically it, to summarize it. But again, if it's healthy, and sometimes it get crazy, but if it's, it's a mutual respect for each other, it brings the best out of you every time. Every time. And I wouldn't change that for the world,
No.
Listening to everybody talk, I might have to go as far as to say that might be our purpose on this planet. Like, it seems like that's at the top of the things to do list.
That's one of them. Absolutely. Yeah. Bring out that's within you. You need something. Like we talk, they talk about that. We say the comfort zone, you got to get out your environment, all that. That's it on the level. You know what I mean? On that competitive level. But when you get to keep the beauty is with that same energy, once we harness it, you could apply that to whatever. Right?
Right.
We could apply that to whatever world we're dealing with. There's business, there's money, there's economics, whatever the case may be. And not so much the spirit of competition, but the energy I'm talking about and that intent. You know what I mean? Yeah, because it makes you focus, bro. You playing, niggas talking shit, y'all going back and forth. You ain't trying to look bad.
Right.
You so focused. You can talk, you talking shit and operating at a high level. Like you in this. You moving with them words, them actions, y'all going back and forth at it. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because you in the moment, but you still cognizant of what's going on. Because you like, God damn, that's good. He did a good move. All right, man, I'm coming back. X, Y, Z. You cognizant of all what's going on. But it's just, it's like, it's a feeling like you say. I mean, it's undescribable. But, to me, it's just like the energy, the juices, all that. It's invigorating.
Yeah.
Before I forget, I'm sending through the chat message my gaming tag for Ramil.
Get a game, man.
Just to make your life a little easier. Go get one. Come on, so you starting with excuses, all right? I thought not making excuses was the first step to competing. Like, go get it. What you mean?
I don't have it.
Go to GameStop, get an Xbox.
Listen,
And man, while you in there, you ain't gonna spend, but like nowadays, 50, 60,
Look,
you ain't gonna spend no money.
Listen, I gotta record this, man.
Hold on. We gonna take it.
You gotta record it.
There's been many a day you sat in my crib and avoided them sticks, my guy.
Man, listen.
Many a day.
I just finished openly admitting to the fact that I avoided a lot of competitive situations in my life. That's just how I
woke up a sleeping giant.
But when the shit addresses me, when it addresses me, I don't look at it as competition. I just look, like I said, like Bruce Lee teach. I just look at it like I'm just unleashing what I do. If that's what you want, that's what I got for you. All that competing with myself ain't for nothing.
Hey, boom.
Who's the boxing joint, Dred? Who was the boxing joint?
Fight night champion.
Right. That's what I'm gonna call bullshit. Because if fight night was on, nigga, you wasn't getting off them sticks. Madden in there, you ain't touched them sticks.
Y'all ain't bringing me back into that world. I'm retired. I'm a recovering addict.
Me too.
I mean, just to be honest about that, the smart man ain't gonna compete. The smart man gonna be careful competing in an area that he ain't trained in. At that time, I wasn't playing that.
I can't let you get off the hook on that, Dre. I can't. Hey, boo. He started talking about, when I was rapping, I go somebody I valued, I love, I ain't battering.
Killing.
Trying to take Mill head off, yeah.
Yeah, right.
No.
Trying to take Mill head off.
I'll tell you, I can't beat that nigga fight night.
No, because he might. I'm going into it knowing that Mill might win.
Yo, and that game be really releasing some aggression because when you be on the game, listen, man. I remember that. I don't know if I did fight night. What we should do at the crib, Mill? Was that it? Fight night, Mortal
Kombat. Y'all used to play
I'm
Madden.
not fucking with him with fight night. I can't beat him with fight night.
No,
I'm not playing him. I'm telling you right, I'm not playing him. Like, Madden,
the buttons be jumping.
And fool, We said a million night eyes bleeding, feel like you got
Oh,
sand in your
what?
eyes.
I told
Well,
Brian I'm recovering addict. Hey, my name
fall
is
asleep
Abdul.
on
I'm
each other,
recovering
bro.
addict. I'm
Let that nigga
recovering
fall
addict. I don't
asleep.
even want to hit it. I don't want no hit. I don't want no hit. I'm cool.
So you know,
I've been clean.
on the topic of relationship etiquette and cultivating relationships, would it be safe to say that whether it's video games or basketball, as black men, all these different modes help us and allow us to cultivate, the different nuances of these relationships, the
Absolutely.
etiquette and all of that, the shit
Absolutely.
talking and
Iron
strengthening
sharpens
you
iron, man.
emotionally.
Iron sharpens iron.
But listen, I'm gonna say this.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say this. For the last 2 summers, man, every Sunday, man, you know, if anybody out there, 30th and Reed, my boys is over there every Sunday hooping, right? We developed
Hold up. Oh,
we
yeah.
developed such a teaching moment for the youngins, man. Because temperatures run real high sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And any given day, you might think, man, we're gonna fight. I'm gonna keep it a beam with you. You know what I'm saying? Any given day, but that's just competitive juices, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of that, we're gonna be together for the rest of the fucking day, anyway.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
so we got to show the young boys, man, listen, it's okay to get worked up, man, in competition, man, without that shit being the end of the world, man. Like,
Absolutely. Without somebody having to die, go to the hospital,
Exactly.
be killed.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
We live to laugh about it.
We having back and forth for every, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's competitive, man. We'll talk more shit.
It also teaches you humility. You know what I mean? To know that there's always somebody out there that might be a little better than you.
Absolutely. Listen, we had Jones where I think a couple times that we might not spoke for a day or two. We had to let it come.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, a couple days might have to go by.
Yeah,
and
you
then
gotta
we
simmer
get back
down,
to
man.
it.
I ain't fucking with you right now. Like,
Yeah. And then we go right back like ain't nothing. We back to square one. Let's go.
Right. I know for a fact they thought we was
But
gonna fuck a couple times.
but that's growth. Men need that.
Right. You got to get that
They
out.
need to be able to resolve that type of stuff without it being physical conflict.
You got to get that out.
So what Ramel was telling the young people out there, on Sundays, come get your ass bust.
Yeah.
We're gonna teach you about relationship etiquette.
Yeah. That's right.
Signing off.
Another key element of that is,
And look, if we check and rock, it's definitely gonna be 6 degrees of separation when I cross your ass.
I'm hacking the shit out of you, big guy. I got 30 years on you, nigga. I'm hacking the shit out your ass.
What? When I chop you, that is relationship etiquette.
It's gonna be.
He's
gonna be like, look, Boo told me about that separation.
Yeah.
My man said, don't take this ass whooping personal. I'll beat you up.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Yo, on some different shit, man. I got a lot of that from being around musicians too, man.
Oh yeah.
That whole, you know what I mean? The whole nature constantly pushing each other forward,
Likewise.
pushing each other to do better.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. I got a wrap, man.
Yes, it's the rap. It's 10 o'clock. It's that time. Yo, it's been a great conversation, man. Great conversation.
Yes, indeed, man.
Yeah, Brian came in his interviewing bag today.
Oh yeah, Brian, put it down.
He good at it. He good at it, baby.
I put it down. Good looking out.
Yeah.
Brian, we're gonna get up on that website situation, man. I think that's a great idea.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know your wheels were turning last night. But I seen the light go on, Dred.
Oh, absolutely.
I seen the light go on last night when he said that.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, always a pleasure, man. Came on purpose next week, man.
Likewise,
Session
man.
is ended.
Indeed, man.